I hate you. How you doing, mate?
Frank, it's freezing.
I know it really, really is. It's changed the weather, hasn't it?
I'm not enjoying it.
No, I'm not enjoying it at all.
It's too cold. I'm like a completely typical British person. Weather's too hot if it's above about 15 degrees. Weather's too cold if it's lower than about 7. Okay, we like it nice in the middle, 7 to 14 degrees, little bit of sunshine, lot of cloud, low wind, no rain.
But being a sporty type of person, though, if you've been given the option to, if you've got the option to play out in the frost or the rain, which would you prefer?
The rain.
Would you seriously?
I prefer the rain.
All right. Well, that's the
less bangs to the knees, better knees.
That's the end of that argument. That
it is, because if you score a goal and you're playing on an all grass pitch, you can knee slide about 20 yards. Yeah. If you are playing on an all grass pitch on the frost, you knee slide, your skin's being left behind.
Oh, okay. Forget about that. If it's Monday to Friday or Sunday to Friday, and you like to go out for a walk. A few times a week and get a little bit of exercise in. What do you prefer, the frost with a little bit of sun or just piddling down rain? There. That's the question for everybody. On postcards, answers on postcards only.
Yes, write into us, Michael Fish at Skelmersdale United. No. Yeah, but I mean,
silly questions we ask, but that's that's the crux of it. For me, I prefer the. I don't mind it when I'm out. If I've got to go to meetings and I'm here, there, and everywhere, and I've got to get in and out of the car all the time, I don't appreciate the cold at all. But I never appreciate the rain, really.
I always appreciate the rain. I actually really like it, even when I'm standing on the touchline watching Skem. Like when we were watching them against Ashton Athletic last year.
Yeah.
And it was awful. It was like the worst weather in the world. So wet, ridiculous.
You learn something new about somebody every day, don't you? I mean, you were there at the Walton, Mesby Walton game?
I was not, no.
No, you weren't at the... Well, you'd have changed your opinion if you'd have been at that game.
Okay.
Oh, no, that was wet after wet after wet. That was awful. I had to drive all the way to York, soaking wet, and that took me 3.5 hours, did it 4, I think, with the traffic, heavy traffic.
Sounds about right.
And by the time I got there, I was still soaking wet.
Yeah, that sounds... Well, even with your heated seats?
I had the heat on full black. Well, that was the only part of my body that was dry, was my bum.
Yeah.
My bum and my balls. Oh, yeah, too much information.
We're going to need a PG notification at the start of this show, then we'll put some editing in.
But listen, a bit of an apology. There was no show last week. This time last week it was in A&E, a little bit poorly, so I'm getting myself sorted out health-wise, so apologies for not having a show last week.
I can't carry it by myself because he has all the equipment and I haven't got a key to his house yet.
And it's difficult. It's more difficult talking to yourself. I've tried it.
Yeah, I know you have done that before. Remember the first 4 episodes of this show before I came on board?
Oh yeah, but I had guests. But I mean, if we were to just do a show now, because we've got no guests today, have we?
We do not, no.
So if we were to do a show today, you'd have to just talk to yourself. I don't know whether you could manage that for 3 hours.
Give it a go.
Give it a go. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been dealing with that, a little bit of club business in between, and I started watching a box set last night. I can't remember the name of it. What's it called? It's on Netflix.
Must have been good.
Oh, it's really good because you know what? I think we're 5 episodes in. So we watched it, we started watching it, and we didn't finish watching it until we went to bed. What's it called? Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's about a woman that's an author, and one of her neighbours has moved in locally, and he's not been proven guilty, but his wife went missing, assumed dead now, but he was never charged with the crime. He's married. He's since married, but he married the woman that used to be involved with his wife's business.
Is that the one with Claire Danes in it? She was in Romeo and Juliet and Homeland.
Oh, I don't know. She, the main actress.
Yeah, the main actress. Bear with me because my missus has been watching that.
Is it The Beast in Me or something?
Yes.
Like is it The Beast in Me?
Yeah, it is, and that's Claire Danes.
Oh, it's fantastic. It is really, really.
That one.
Yeah,
I'm showing him a picture of the Netflix poster.
Yeah, what's his name?
Matthew Rhys.
Oh, he's a bloody good actor, isn't he?
As Niall Jarvis.
Whoa, he's got evil eyes.
Yeah.
He's got hooded, like a little bit like myself. He's got hooded eyes.
Eyelids. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, no, I saw this. Cost the first action in it, and it's not a spoiler, but he beat somebody to death with an art artifact, and it was very bloody, bit messy.
Yeah. You have to go a fair way through to see him do that, because the question is he, has he dispensed with his wife or
Did
not?
you do it?
Yeah. Well,
Did you do it?
Well, she's a struggling author.
Aren't we all?
She had a what's the Pulitzer winning author prize for one of her books. I can't remember what it was, but she had a 3-book deal. But she had writer's block and she couldn't write anything. She was working on something, and then this chance meeting with him, he's turned around and said, "I'm more interesting than that crap that you're trying to write about now." And eventually they team up together, and the idea is she's trying to help him create a better persona for himself than he has. But with all the digging and what have you, it's got that many twists and turns in it. I don't want to spoil it for anyone because I've not finished watching it yet, but it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So it is called The Beast in Her, is it?
Beast in Me.
The Beast in Me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely got to watch that.
As for me, I watched Band of Brothers again.
Band of Brothers.
It's just the most amazing TV show ever.
I take it there's loads of series, is there?
No, 10 episodes.
10 episodes?
It's a mini-series.
Oh, right.
It's produced by the same people who put together Saving Private Ryan. Yeah. And it was made in 2001. And it's got a lot of actors who then became really big over the next 10, 15 years or so. So Tom Hardy, Michael Fassbender, Andrew Scott... James McAvoy.
You were a baby back when that was made, weren't you?
2001. Give or take.
Yeah.
7.
How do you find watching things that sort of...
Well, back.
You wouldn't have been acquainted with that sort of era much?
No.
From an adult perspective, anyway.
Fascinating. I do find it absolutely fascinating, yeah. It was so groundbreaking, wasn't it? To get a really in-depth look at how war was perceived. I mean, I know there have been war movies aplenty about World War II over the sort of 7 decades.
So I didn't mean, by the way, that you weren't accustomed to the World War. I was talking about 2001 when it was made or whatever it was, yeah.
Well, yeah, no, and I mean, what was...
I find it bizarre now. If I watched something back in the day when there wasn't mobile phones in the programmes, do you find that bizarre?
Yeah, and they've got to run into a phone box to make an emergency call. Sort of
divvying
about with the change.
Yeah, when things were really basic. Yeah. When you had a dial-up on your phone.
Yeah. Put the phone down! I'm on the internet! No!
Oh, no, but you remember, back before then, when my nan and granddad were alive, we used to have the big phone and the...
right, yeah.
And the winder, whatever you call it.
God, I've forgotten what those are. I remember the name of it like 2 weeks ago and I've completely forgotten it now. I know what you're on about, but yeah... Oh, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, really. We should be getting on with the show.
We really should, haven't we? This cold open's lasted longer than the current winter, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll get on.
We'll
get on with the show.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Speaking Frankly Football Show. I'm Frank Hughes, the chairman of Skelmersdale United Football Club, and alongside me is my co-host and passionate press officer, AJ Vigette. Not that being involved with the football club is a prerequisite for hosting a football podcast, but it certainly helps. We are ready to dive headfirst into the vibrant world of non-league football in the Northwest, and we might even take a moment to discuss some of the bigger headlines in the sport. We'll explore life in the Northwest counties, bring you interviews with well-known faces in the league, and analyse how local teams are performing while making bold predictions for their upcoming matches. Nothing is off the limits here. We'll be diving into all kinds of topics, including complicated refereeing decisions and regulations that often leave fans perplexed. We want to hear from you too. This is your show, so don't hesitate to reach out with topics you want us to tackle. Let's get this conversation started and enjoy every single moment. We are speaking frankly. Hello and welcome to episode 20 of series 2 of the Speaking Frankly Football Show, and a warm welcome to my co-host AJ.
Thanks for the warm welcome, Frank, on this absolutely Baltic evening when we are recording. We are the Speaking Frankly Football Show. We are still on the air, still bringing you all the news, gossip, booze and stories from the world of non-league football, most prevalently in the Northwest. Coming up on today's show, we're going to do a little bit of a roundup of the Northwest counties, when we're going to hop in on Ramsbottom United and the City of Liverpool, Litherland Remica. We'll turn our attention to the FA Trophy, the National League North, and then in Controversial Corner, we're going to discuss football agents, Eastbourne Borough Football Club, Sunday League in Warwick, and then AFC Rushton and Diamonds. And then we'll have a look at other stories, including Flixton and Lewis Hardcastle. What a nice guy. And then, of course, we will finish that up with looking at Skelmersdale United and then our fixtures, predictions and analysis. So we didn't have a show last Wednesday, and because of that, we weren't able to cover the results from the week before, as we often do. As any regular fan of the show will know, I am on a 77 game winning... No, I'm on about a 7 or 8 game winning run. I have a feeling that may be ending today. I have done my homework. The paper isn't with me, but I remember the results that I got. Franklin, what did you get?
I got 35. I haven't checked the rest of them, to
Franklin!
be perfectly honest with you, but listen, we didn't even mention that before. So when I was counting, I didn't do particularly well to start off with.
No.
And then a lot of the games either got called off, I think, didn't they? So I've done everything up until Saturday the 15th of November. Monday the 17th of November. And up to that point, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I had 11. That's without looking at the extras.
Okay. So
and I don't know whether many of them games survived.
Up until the 17th. Right. So up until about the 17th, then, if we're assuming that the paper was about the same, I got 16. I'll have a look and just...
You got 16 before you counted the rest?
No, not at all. So where did you get up to? So he's showing me his paperwork. And he got up to Stockport Town versus Warrington Town. Yeah, I mean, did we? I don't think we covered any of these games in the... Or did we?
Well, these were ones that we predicted, yeah.
Oh, were they?
Obviously, I went for Radcliffe against Earlham on the Tuesday.
Yes.
I'd have to have a look at them.
Okay,
but up to that point of Monday, I think I had 11,
which
is absolutely tragic, to be fair.
So technically speaking, I am ahead, but Frank is in pole position to overtake me if he can get
Well, listen,
6.
now I will count the rest, and we'll do it officially and announce it either on social media or...
on next week's show.
On next week's show. But listen, I'd like to start off this week's show to pay tribute really to Roly Howard. As a lot of people in not just non-league football in this area, but right across the country might recall Roly, the former Marine manager who managed 1,975 matches between August 1972 and April 2005, and he also served as a groundsman as well. On Saturday's last Saturday's fixture, Marine observed a minute's silence in memory of Howard, who died at the age of 90 years of age. Chairman Paul Leary told Radio Merseyside he was a hero because for 33 years of his life he gave 100% of everything to Marine, and he was successful. During his tenure, he secured 5 league titles and 15 cup victories. Furthermore, he played a role in developing football talents, including Liverpool and Republic of Ireland international Jason McAteer, who began his career in Marine's youth system. There's lots of tributes came in. I can't really say I knew him particularly well, but I do know when he retired from football with Marine, he often spent a lot of time coming up to watch Skem at Stormy Corner, and just absolutely loved non-league football. And I think we'll hit on it a little bit later in sort of different circumstances when we pay tributes, but in terms of Steve Wilkes, we'll talk about Steve Wilkes and the accomplishment that he's made. But it's very, very difficult to imagine that anybody in the current era now would last as long as Roly Howard did. It's just such an amazing story.
Yeah, absolutely stunning. I remember we covered this very early on in the infancy of the Speaking Frankly football show, and talking about who holds the record for the most games managed and the longest tenure at a single football club. So for 33 years, Roly Howard was the manager of Marine Football Club. And I think it's a record that, may never be surpassed. 33 years is a hell of a long time at the same football club. I mean, we know Alex Ferguson managed about 26, but I think that may have been as far as it's gotten in terms of anyone who was even close. So I think his achievements and his legacy at that football club will never be surpassed.
And a funny little story, really. He was motivated to become Marine's groundsman after witnessing the then Stockport manager Eric Webster mowing the ground at their facility. I asked him what he was doing, and he said they never sack a groundsman. So I looked after the ground for 5 or 6 years as well. And of course, his achievement, he managed to get himself into the Guinness World Records as the longest serving football manager. Reflecting on his final game as Marine's manager, he stated, "The involvement and the camaraderie between players is what I will miss most, but I always said I would know when the time was right," and it is. So listen to everybody that knew Roly, condolences to family and friends, but what a legacy.
What an incredible legacy indeed.
Yeah. So listen, we'll move on to the Northwest Counties, and it's hard to know where to start really, because some of the results have been quite red hot really in terms of scorelines. I think
it's been mayhem.
Yeah,
absolute mayhem.
We've not missed so much in terms of we even though we've missed a show, we predicted on some of the outcomes, but I don't think in our wildest dreams some of us would have imagined that there would be an 11-1 or a 10-1 thrown into the equation as well.
No, not at all. And it's
so Wythenshawe, as we know, beat City of Liverpool 11-1, and we'll come to City of Liverpool because there's been a lot of changes there in recent days. And of course, Pavilion managed to beat Pilkington 10-1 away from home. So there's been some really big, significant results in there. But
yes,
let's talk about Carl Clare first of all, because he resigned as the manager of City of Liverpool.
Did.
Following the was it the 8-0 defeat? The 8-0 defeat against
Rami.
He decided that he'd had enough, and
that's fair.
And off he went.
Yep.
From that, listen, we know we've known for a long time now that there's a lot of disillusioned, disenfranchised supporters at the City of Liverpool. Most of them aiming their venom at the chairman, Paul Manning, who is once again now receiving a fair bit of stick, and rumours are circulating that suggest that the club might go out of business before the end of the year. Now, I'm trying to be devil's advocate here as well. I feel sorry for the club, sorry for the people that are running it, because it's a thankless task. But I also understand from a supporter's perspective as well how difficult it is. The club is 10 years old, and you'd think it's well sort of rooted now, and it should have moved on far better than it has.
Yeah.
So from a supporter's perspective, I feel sorry for them, but also you have to look at how it affects people that have been running it, including Paul Manning. And I don't think it's easy, and it's very difficult to see it from both perspectives. And before we mention the new manager, what's your feeling, AJ?
I think I'm probably on the same sort of side as you. I know you've just played devil's advocate, but for me, if you're going to set up a football club, you've got to have the roots of the journey embedded in your mind. And for as long as we've known City of Liverpool to exist, they've been deeply nomadic. They've been one of the more expensive clubs to support in terms of structure and tickets. I know that now that they are playing at Burscough, their tickets are £12 on the gate, which is about a 40% uprise on normal tickets for that for that level. Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about how much money they're actually putting into the club in the short term. Paying players wages and fees, and whether that's actually a bit of an end product, and it hasn't panned out that way. I know that they were in the Northwest Counties, the Northern Prem, but they've now been relegated and dropped down, and it looks like they're going to drop out again because they've not readjusted their infrastructure. They've not looked to create a bit of stability there.
It's difficult if you mentioned it there. They live in a sort of nomadic existence, and we're very much in that sort of position ourselves, and it's difficult to.
But our entire history has not been nomadic like theirs is.
No, totally agree with you there. And I think somebody said it to me today. I think you'll see far less clubs like City of Liverpool and AFC Liverpool being allowed into the non-league system. I think it'll be very, very difficult for them to become directly into there. Yeah. And we'll talk about Flixton, because Flixton have been, I think they've gone out of existence 13 years ago, but we'll talk about that later on. But sort of the latest news is, anyway, of course, our friend Richard Brodie has been given the task, the honour, whatever you want to call it, to keep City of Liverpool in the Northwest Counties Premier Division, and that's going to be an extremely tough task for them.
Enormous job. I'm glad they've gone for Richard. I think they needed somebody with a lot of Northwest Counties experience in there. I know he's only young, but he's had a lot of time in the management system with us, with Burscough, and most notably recently with Glossop North End, for which he was credited with turning around their fortunes and keeping them in the Northwest Counties Prem. With that being said, he's incurred a large chunk of his personnel going off to Horizons New, so he's got a bit of a rebuild of the job on his task.
Oh, he's got a total rebuild.
Yeah,
new assistant. Listens, no doubt he'll have him lined up.
Yeah.
Spoke to him before he even applied for the job. The way to look at it is if he manages to keep them up in the northern. I keep saying northern. If they keep them up in the Premier Division of the Northwest Counties, then it's great on his CV. Yeah. He did it with Glossop. Because Glossop were looking at the wrong end of the table before he came along, so it's good to have on his CV, but it's going to be a difficult task because we know there's not a great deal of money there. We know there's been budget cuts.
Yes.
We don't know what the current financial situation is there, but it won't be. It can't be any better.
I don't think so.
Because they've not got rid of a manager, but a manager's left. If you can't, we also, and it's not a fault of the club. If the tools are not there, if the finances are not there to give to the manager, then what can you do? You can only float like we're trying to do at the moment.
Well, yeah, but they've been floating for a long time. The idea of a football club is that it has roots embedded in its own community.
They had a good membership scheme there as well that brought money in.
They did.
They had money every season. Before they started the season, they had money in the bank.
Yeah.
And they could speculate where a lot of clubs couldn't because of the size of the membership.
But they didn't have any rent. They had rent to pay in places, didn't they?
But that said, though, that they had that that was already in the equation. They'd worked that out. Their membership scheme was that good, or I was led to believe it was that good, that it gave them a budget, as well as knowing that they had to pay 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it was. And I don't know what they're paying at Bearsco. I would imagine it's more than what we were paying, and that's £500 a game. What we do know is the Northwest Counties Premier Division is top heavy on fixtures. You've got 46 games a season in the league alone. You've got the FA Vars, the FA Cup, you've got the League Cup, and you've got the County Cup as well.
Cups, yeah.
So you've got a lot of cup competitions, a lot of fixtures potentially there.
Yeah. 27 at the top end.
Well, you've got a bare minimum of 50 fixtures, and 25 of them minimum are going to be at home.
Reasonably speaking, yeah, 27, like I say, at most.
Yeah.
So 27.
And at £500 a throw, what's that? 12,500.
Oh God, no. Yeah, about 13.5 grand.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of money in it.
It is a lot of money. Yeah. So, in your perspective, then, I don't want to sound awful here, but is there any point in City of Liverpool existing? Because they were born out
from our perspective, we've talked about this before, and a lot of people have talked about the dilution of non-league football.
Yeah, particularly in a city like Liverpool.
Yeah, and whether it's good or it's bad. In fairness, I always said that rather than start up a football club, why don't you support other local non-league football clubs, the nearest to you, whatever. I think less is more for those that are there. There's too many clubs to support. How many clubs can you support in Liverpool?
AFC Liverpool, City of Liverpool, South Liverpool,
Lower Breck, Marine,
MSB Walton, Crosby United.
Is there a Crosby United?
I think there is. Anyway, Southport.
Yeah, if you go further out,
Formby,
as you said,
yeah.
There's a hell of a lot of clubs, but if you look in Liverpool alone, you're competing with the likes of Everton and Liverpool anyway, aren't you? Before you've even started.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, if you ask me a question as Paul Manning, I would say yes. I started something here. I want to finish it. It's a legacy. We talk about when we started, 1882, way before we were ever even imagined. Would we have said back in that day, if we were a club that had come 10, 20 years after some other club, would we have turned around and said, is Skem is it worthwhile starting Skem? I think the argument is in the eye of it remains with the person that loves the football club, and I'm sure that Paul Manning and those people that have been involved with City of Liverpool would want City of Liverpool to survive. Ask the question about whether they should have been formed in the first place. I'd argue whether it was an egotistical venture, and a lot of people have said that before. But once you've done all of that, once you've started all of that, becomes a love job, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, we know that as much as anybody.
Yeah. I know a lot of people will turn around and say, well, so what if they go out of business? I don't want them to go out of business. I like, if they survive the next 20, 30 years, and we're still talking about, if I'm still alive, but if we're still talking about them in the next 20 years, and they've managed to get themselves a piece of land, and they've built the stadium, and they're getting to the third proper round of the FA Cup and playing the likes of Everton or Liverpool at home, then you'll arguably turn around and say, it was a venture that was well worth starting. So what was your question? Your original question was,
is there any point to City of Liverpool?
I think yes.
Well, all right then.
But I think that's subjective, and people will have a different opinion, as you probably do. But Richard has got a big build on his hands there. But if anybody's capable of turning things around, I know, because I do speak to him on a regular basis. When he first got the Skem job, I think he was told by Gordon, just make sure that we don't get relegated. He managed to we finished in 11th place in the Northern Premier League. And then, the same with Glossop. Did he do the business at Glossop? Will he stop them from getting relegated?
He did.
You look at where they are now, and practically the same team. They've got rid of Richard, but they've still got his assistant manager now running the football club. And are they getting the results in yet?
Yes, they are.
They've climbed away from that danger area now. They're doing really well. So I think if anybody's going to get the job, it's going to be a Richard Brodie, or it's going to be somebody that we don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be. It's a big name for City of Liverpool. Richard Brodie's a big name for City of Liverpool, and I want him to do well. So yeah, I want City of Liverpool to prosper, because Richard Brodie is hopefully going to do the job for them.
Well, he's going to have to do it on the back of some astonishing results against his team. 33 goals shipped in 4 games. Wow. So you'd think his defence has to be the starting point of him shoring up and making sure that the results start turning around there. The most recent of which was an 11-1 hammering away at Wythenshawe. I mean, looking at the goal scorers, Aaron Dwyer got a hat-trick. Did anybody else? Did Brian Lee get one? No, Brian Lee only got 2. But anyway, 11 goals scored by Wythenshawe, and ironically enough, that was a game that their social media representatives for City of Liverpool did not update on. You can see why.
Yeah, you can see why. Also, I think that was after the manager had stepped down, hadn't it, as well?
Yeah,
so I don't know whether they had to string a team together there. It might have been difficult because Carl had resigned before that game.
Yeah, I think the assistant on the sideline for City of Liverpool was actually related to Paul Manning in some way. I think it was his
Peter.
Son or his son-in-law.
He's the secretary, isn't he?
That's
But listen, there's no doubt about it. They've been left in a position there, haven't they, where they've had to get on with it.
Yes. Now, obviously, I've asked you, is there any point to City of Liverpool? I think the other question to ask is, can they survive? Not just in the North West Counties Prem, can they continue to exist?
All depends on finances. Finances run football clubs, and it doesn't really matter where Scam United Football Club are. We could be hiring Marines ground for the rest of our history. If somebody comes into the football club and has got euro millions kind of finances, then you can keep going for forever. Whilst you're interested, is there in the football club. So I don't know. I mean, I know they were looking for land in Liverpool, and I think they came very close to agreeing a deal at some stage, but it never came off. I think of a lot of that when we look at, like you say, unless you've got. We're going to talk about Flixton and the millionaire US financier behind that. If you've got money behind it, then you can sustain it. So yeah, the two questions are very relevant. Is it worth it? Yes. Can they survive? Right now, if they get another relegation, can you afford to carry on paying £600 or £700 for the ground share? And that's just the minimum. Then your referees.
I mean, that's the other difficulty as well, is they are very like us. They've been taken out of their hub, if you like. They're not in Liverpool anymore. They're in Burscough. So is the following still going to be there? Well,
that's when you say, what's the point? What's the point in being involved in a team now that is predominantly a Liverpool? Well, it's the same for us, really. It's about floating. It's about moving on and hoping that you do recover yourself and get yourself back to Liverpool.
This is absolutely correct. But as we already said, talent and football clubs in Liverpool massively diluted.
I think to have any credibility talking about this, we have to address the elephant in the non-league room, if you like, and that is in terms of the allegations that City of Liverpool don't pay the bills. We're well aware of that. We're well aware. I think we featured on a previous show about
Southport,
the debts owed to Southport, the alleged debts owed to Southport. There's obviously problems with finances there, and they've got to address that. Getting back into Liverpool and having for them technically getting back into Liverpool and having a ground share with one of the clubs in Liverpool would be the ideal scenario for them. I mean, really speaking, they should have been ground sharing at Marine and we should have been still at Bearscough.
I know.
You could arguably
Yeah.
say that. So there's a lot to address there.
Yeah.
But it's a huge story that you know, there's a lot of controversy surrounding City of Liverpool and particularly the chairman.
Yes.
But we have to look at it from both perspectives. That man's obviously put a lot of hard work in there.
He has.
He doesn't speak to anyone by the sounds of it. I'd love to get him on the show and see whether he would. He would like to give his version of it, because this is very sort of a little bit different to the Farsley Celtic story with Paul Barthorpe.
Yeah.
But we had him on the show as well. We learned very quickly that there was a different side to that as well.
Always two sides to a story, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. But what is it with chairman named Paul and controversy?
Oh, well, you're creating controversy there by actually suggesting...
If you are Paul, do not run a football club.
Yeah,
You'll just get bogged down.
So some people would sooner not be named Paul. Anyway, what they would sooner do is, I have to suggest that the man formerly known as Paul can be mentioned on the show. So I don't know controversial.
Prince Paul.
I think, we all want to be successful. We all want to win.
Of course we do.
It doesn't happen for for 99% of the.
It certainly does not.
It doesn't. But listen, we move on from that.
Yeah.
And just wish Richard Brodie all the best.
100%.
But what were we going to talk about? Just when we thought, well, that's a little bit different. We'll talk about Ramsbottom.
Yeah.
And Steve Wilkes, because we mentioned obviously Roly Howard and the 33-year tenure at Marine, which was fabulous. So Steve Wilkes, he hit the 1,300 game milestone. That was against, I believe, that achievement was marked.
West Didsbury?
It was the 8-0 victory against City of Liverpool, was it?
Oh, was it? I thought it was the one after. No, you might be right.
I think the one that he was supposed to be, his 1,300th, was postponed.
Right.
So I'm assuming it was a week Tuesday gone, and if that's right, I think I think you'd have celebrated it against them. So listen, it's a great way to celebrate your 1,300th match, isn't it? So it was in 1997 when the former professional footballer with Wigan Athletic and Preston North End took his first tentative steps into management. So some 28 and a bit years later, from putting his first team out with Darwin FC, Stephen Brian Wilkes celebrated his 1,300th match as a manager a couple of weeks ago. So we've had him on the show before, and we really want to congratulate him. And that again, will we see many modern managers managing 1,300?
I think there are some. I think there are some who will. I think Davy Jones will absolutely make it to 1,300. I mean, hell, the way he started out, I think Andy Barlow might.
We talked about that today. He's certainly young enough. He's coming up to 42 next month.
Oh, yeah.
He's definitely got, if you compare him to Tommy, who's 75 on Sunday.
Yes, he is.
Tommy Lawson, 75 on. He's been managing for God knows how many years. I'd love to know how many games he's managed.
That's actually true. I don't know if anybody. There must be somebody out there. Some statistician will know how many.
I think he'd have been well over 1,000, because he must have. In 10, 11 years at Skem, if you were averaging 60 games a season,
600.
then there's 660 games over 11 years. He managed at Clitheroe, he managed at Prescott Cables, where he basically made his name. He's managed a lot of clubs and accumulated an awful lot of what are the markings? Landmarks, if you like. So
milestones. That's fair enough. Right, we'll have to get a statistician out to just double check that one.
I need to speak to Tommy on that one. We're going to see him later on in the week and give him a little present for his birthday.
For his birthday, yeah.
Yeah, and talking about birthdays, because I don't think we had the opportunity to mention it, but Recently, our co-director, Derek Hunt, celebrated his 85th birthday.
Yes,
Still
he
going
did.
strong.
Very much so.
Picking that bag up with all its heavy kit up. And he amazes me. The guy amazes me.
Giving us all plenty of tongue lashings and wallopings whenever we need it. I was told to pipe down because I was distracting him when we were playing the Grenadier at the weekend. I had to apologise by saying, sorry, Mr. Hunt. He said, I'll forgive you this once. Fair enough. Yeah. He's still stamping his authority on the sidelines wherever
I'm not saying anything because Mr. Hunt, and I'm not using rhyming slang or anything like that, but if you look at the last 3 digits of his, the last 3 letters on his number plate,
on his car,
a TWA.
Oh dear! Just need an extra cup of tea in there.
And he's not one of them at all, by
Absolutely
the way. He's an absolute legend. We love him dearly. Sometimes he's grumpy. Occasionally he's happy, but we love him.
But all the time he is scam.
Listen, if we could have a dozen Derek Hunts, we wouldn't be where we are.
Well, we'd be a nursing home.
We'd be a nursing
home. Yeah.
You shouldn't have said that. I'm talking about the football club.
He doesn't listen to the show.
Oh God, yeah. Let's hope he doesn't.
No. Well, let's hope not. No. Anyway, moving on through the northwest counties here. So a lot of goals galore last Saturday. So we've already mentioned Wythenshawe, who won 11-1. Padiham won at Pilkington by 10 goals to 1. A game that was made all the more remarkable by the fact that Padiham were only 1-0 up at half time,
That's amazing.
And then managed to score 9 goals in a 39-minute window up at over in St Helens. That's absolutely stunning from Padiham and fully underlines their credentials as
so I think Padiham temporarily took charge of the league again, didn't they?
They climbed to the top very briefly, but Ramsbottom had a game in hand on the Storks there, which was utilised in the middle of the week when they came from 3-1 down to draw at Chadderton by 3-3. So Chadderton
in the 100th minute of the game.
Yes, they managed to get their goal in the.
Well, they scored both, so they were losing 3-1, and they managed to get back to 3-2
in the 92nd,
and then 3-3 in
the 100th.
Listen, that's sort of Fergie-esque, Manchester United style recovery.
It certainly is, yeah. Chadderton's own strike force of Lewis, Simon, Byrne and Benito Lowe had put them firmly in command going into injury time by being 3-1 up, but Oscar Radcliffe and then Maine Walder in the 100th minute giving the Rams a share of their points that, Steve Wilkes will argue whether or not they deserved it, but my goodness me, did they make it a never say die attitude. So Rami are atop of the table only by a point, having played their game in hand on Padiham, who were in second, and then West Didsbury and Chorlton in third place and just a point behind Padiham, with having played a game more.
So I think we've felt as though there was a certain amount of invincibility about Padiham at one stage.
We did.
And then we turned our attention onto Ramsbottom, and they've had a couple of sort of indifferent performances. They lost, I think, in the Macron trophy 2-1 to West Didsbury and Chorlton.
Yes,
like you say, they were held to a 3-3 draw. Is this I'm just looking at the
Chadderton are a bit of a different.
Just looking at the table now, and I've managed to get all 3 tables on the same page, which makes and I've got the form table there as well. Believe it or not,
yeah.
Are we looking at 4 teams that could be vying for the top spot throughout this season now? Because we're looking at Wythenshawe in 4th spot. Mm-hmm. And I'm discounting Earlham at this stage, but they're 40 points, they're 11 points behind Ramsbottom. But Wythenshawe are within 5 points. West Didsbury are 2 points behind, and Padiham are just that 1 point behind.
Yeah.
Now, there's not a great deal of difference other than Wythenshawe have got a game in hand, which could take them closer to Ramsbottom. Mm-hmm. Are we looking at a 4-team cut?
For now, yes. I think it'll be more interesting to see how the league is panning out when we get to around the end of January. I think West Didsbury and Chorlton are always going to be there, and you can never really discount Earlham, but they sort of sit on the fences of promotion and non-promotion. But I think for me, it could very well be a 3 or even 2 horse race. I think Rami and Paddy certainly have that air of invincibility about them. The interesting thing is that Rami this weekend host Earlham, a very informed Earlham, and I think if they can navigate that game with minimal hiccups, I think then we can reasonably say, okay, yeah, Rami are the real deal here.
And who, apart from those top 4, would you suggest have got the more serious chance of, I don't know, making a play for it, a good run?
I think if you're looking at that,
who's out of the equation?
Who's out of the equation?
Would you?
I think anybody from 9th down are out of the equation. So,
well, theoretically, not theoretically, but in terms of points and games to be played, you're right. But credentials, I'm looking at credentials here, and I'm saying to myself that, is it a season too soon for Bearscough to peak? Are they still? I think they should be concentrating on top 5, and they probably will. They're having a good cup run. They're still in the FA Vars.
Yeah, but they do have a lot of balls to juggle here, so to speak, plates to spin. So, like I say, I think if you look at Chadderton upwards, I think that's the kind of the remit of teams that can and will challenge for promotion or playoffs. Given that Chadderton have got at least 2, some even 3 games in hand on the teams above them, if they get to that...
Still 9 points behind.
They are still 9 points behind, yes, but there's still half a season to go. And we know that Chadderton can and often do turn things around.
How amazing is it, though? I mean, how many games have we played?
We've played 9.
9 games. They played 20, 21. Some of one team, Glossop North End, have played 24.
Yes, they have.
It's unbelievable, really, isn't it?
But by the converse of it, if you look in the First Division North, they've all played 13 and 14.
So listen, if we look, we're looking at the middle of the table there, and Glossop have consolidated there. Pilks are doing far better than we expected them to do, regardless of the 10-1 defeat, which they'd have been really disappointed with.
Oh, hugely.
And it's done their goal margin difference.
It's slapped
no good at all, minus 27. We're looking at the bottom teams there. Are we looking at... We're looking at the bottom 2 for relegation there. But City of Liverpool could be really, really dragged into that.
I think they could.
2.
Yeah. So Abbey Hay had an amazing result at the weekend by beating FC United of Manchester in the cup. And I think if you look at it from that kind of credit, and plus they had a hard-fought game where they were edged out by Atherton LR last Saturday. So they have all the credentials of being capable.
That was on Tuesday in the Manchester Cup.
Pardon me.
Yeah, Abbey Hay. Yeah, I mean, they could have made that much easier for themselves, couldn't they? Because they were holding the lead until the 93rd minute, and then they equalised. But that's a good... whether they put a
weakened team out?
Sort of under 18s, under 21s in there, I don't know.
Perhaps.
Maybe that. But listen, it doesn't matter. It's the name you're playing, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, so for me, I think we're looking very much at that bottom 3 as being kind of the pivot point. Now, last season you had about 5 teams that were dragged into the relegation zone. So if we're looking at it from that perspective, you've got Exton Villa and AFC Liverpool in there as well. Now, I think Exton Villa's issue is that they draw far more games than they win. They've drawn 9, where the teams around them tend to have drawn 4 and 5 and maybe even 3, etc. If they can turn a few of those results into 3-pointers, I don't think they'll have much of an issue staving off relegation at all.
No, well, we're worried about AFC Liverpool and FC Isle of Man. We're not worried about them now, are we?
Not too much, no.
So we're looking at everything now from 21st. So Exton Villa, City of Liverpool, Abbey Hay, Litherland...
I think
they're gone, aren't they?
I really think so.
Unless they get huge investment. I know...
we spoke to Jamie a few weeks ago.
No disrespect to Jamie Redford. He's got a hell of a job on his hand.
But he knew that
Richard,
anyway.
Yeah, as Richard Brodie's learning very, very quickly now.
Yeah.
So, is there anything more we want to address in the Premier Division?
All I want to address, the only thing I want to address is a hats off to Earlham's John Johnston, who scored inside 5 seconds of the second half beginning against South Liverpool, where he scored from the centre circle directly into South Liverpool's net. I saw the footage. It was absolutely incredible.
I've not seen it.
Have you not? He's just...
Was the keeper off his line? Just
keeper
going
was
like this,
off, yeah.
like this with his hands?
Keeper was off his line. Johnston
warm.
received the ball inside the centre circle and smashed it first time right into the net from the halfway line. And a result for which Earlham won by 3-0 to carry on their really impressive run. They then...
We do like that kind of intrigue in a football match, don't we?
do.
But it's brought me to something that I didn't put on my notes, but I'd like to address.
Go on, man.
The situation with Everton against Manchester United on Monday. I'm interested in your politics in terms of should he have been sent off or shouldn't he?
Yeah, he should have been sent off. Yeah, no, absolutely. If I slapped a colleague in the face, I'd have been pulled into a disciplinary without any single shadow of a doubt. So just because he's paid absolutely bucket loads and he's a professional footballer, no way should he be doing that. Absolutely not. No excuse for it whatsoever. Fully deserving of his red card.
Because
he slapped somebody above the face. It's violent conduct.
Would you not say it was handbags?
No. I'd say
so
if they just had
there's a difference if you strike your opposition, then...
no, there isn't.
In terms of... If you fight between and you get a man sent off, nobody gains...
If you remember...
Well, obviously Manchester United gained the incentive to...
Did we?
Well, you didn't. You didn't because...
No, because we stuffed it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it was a great performance. I didn't watch all of it. I watched bits of it. I'm not of the... I think it was handbags, and I think that they've got to manage that on the pitch themselves. I think I listened to Simon Jordan the other day, or was it today, and he turned around and said that by all give them both yellow cards and tell them the carry it on, and then one of them is going to get sent off. I'd have gone down that line.
Yeah,
I think if you're playing, I think if he just struck, I don't know, Bruno Fernandes, I think that's different than. You know, he gets sent off. But I think when it's player against player in the same team,
for me, it's still violent.
It's given Manchester United an unfair advantage.
It's still violent conduct, whatever way you look at it. That's what the rules say. It's above the head. It's an open fist. It is violent conduct on the face.
So violent conduct is
above the shoulder. Sorry.
Violent conduct is anything that it can be deemed to be pushing, using excessive force, slapping, pinching.
Pinching?
Yeah, well, even pinching. Well, we've known people, haven't we? I can't remember who it was now. Somebody might remind me. Somebody once, and I don't know whether it was back in the Gaza day now, somebody twisted somebody's nipple and got sent off for it. Now, I've got to say that's more painful than the slap in the face.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever twisted your nipple?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's bloody painful.
It's not nice.
No. So I'd sooner be slapped in the face.
Okay.
Now, if you kicked in the nether regions, that's another painful one as well.
Certainly is.
But a slap across the face, and it was early on in the game. They're all hyped up. They're ready to go, and
don't think there's any excuse for it.
See, but wouldn't you feel that if that had been Manchester United, would you? Because you are a Manchester United supporter, would you have been happy with the sending off?
I don't think happy, but I would concede that the referee had probably made the right decision. Do you remember when...
But discretionary powers?
No, there's
exist. Well, they should.
I don't think it can help.
Is he sending him off because the rules say he has to?
Yeah.
Rather than he's got the discretion to say...
Well, the thing is, he was right there when it happened. He didn't need a second look. He saw what happened. He had a perfect view, and he's sort of seen them going at it, and Gay slapping Michael Keane, and that in itself is violent. It's violent conduct in the workplace.
Well, listen, we've covered that, but I can't remember the reason why I mentioned that now. What were we talking about before that? Can you remember? Controversial. I was going to say, in terms of... What was I going to say? You talked about the kick-off and he's...
Yes, he scored from kick-off, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that's cheating?
Nah, of course it's not. No. The game's begun with a player playing the ball off the ball marking in the centre circle.
Okay, so I'd like to see a different rule in football. I'd like to say that once the ball is passed out of that centre circle, you can shoot from wherever you want. I think we all look for it. Every team looks for it when we see a player, a goalkeeper, well off his line.
Yep.
And the vast majority of times, even Jordan Pickford's there, sort of beating his gloves together on the edge of his box. I say let's get another rule in that says that you can't shoot unless from kick-off. You can't shoot from the centre circle.
Spot. I think John Johnson will be arguing with you about that one.
Yeah, I just think sometimes it's a little bit like a penalty that's wrongly awarded. It's just a bit of I'm not happy with it, but we like to watch it. And that's why I say we like to see the controversy, and that's why I'm talking about Everton and what happened there on Monday. Listen, we'll come on to more controversial issues later. So, does that round up the Northern Premier? The Northern Premier, I've done it 3 times.
Northwest Counties Premier.
The Northwest Counties Premier.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so we'll move on to Division 1 North.
We will.
And Ashton Town have managed to get to the summit of the league, quite remarkably, really. So, after their 2-0 win over Fulwood Amateurs at the weekend, they've topped the charts. All top 3 teams have played 14 games. But I keep coming back to it, and again we're here. Nelson, who are 4th, have just played 9 games in practically 9 games in practically 4 months. That is exactly the amount of games that we played since the middle of August.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. But we know there's been a lot of postponements. There's been a lot of cup games, but
and particularly when you consider Nelson's difficulties at Little Wembley, with the floodlights, I think it's all the more reason to be turning games around, really. So they will get their games in hand, and I think very, very much they'll be back at the top of the table. I don't know if they ever were, actually. Were they, or have they just kind of been 2nd, 3rd and 4th, but just having
Nelson
played
topped the table, didn't they? Briefly topped the table as well.
All right. That's still mental, isn't
it? So
it?
it's going to come to a point where they're going to be playing 3 games a week if they're not careful.
Well, I don't think we're there yet, but I don't think we're far away, particularly when you consider Nelson play on a grass pitch as well. I think these postponed games could back up. But anyway...
It's going to get worse, isn't it?
I
because
think
the weather is inclement, and we've talked about the cold today.
We did.
My feet are turning into blocks of ice as we're speaking, because the heating has been switched off. But yeah, so they're going to end up with a few more postponements, but
they could.
Let's hope it doesn't take anything away from the sort of the competition at the top of that table. So as we know, McGull are doing extremely well.
Yeah.
Darwin are up there as well, so they make up the top 3.
Yeah, McGull in particular will be sort of quite relieved about this. So they were playing Darwin and were behind until the 93rd minute when new signing Robert Murphy scored in the 93rd minute of the game. Murphy, who they signed last week from City of Liverpool, is a defender, scoring on his home debut to salvage a point for his new side that keeps them 2nd in the table and just a point behind Ashton Town, with Darwin in 3rd place and then Nelson in 4th. Nelson, who did not play at the weekend, were not scheduled to play at the weekend in the domestic league. Daisy Hill, they continue their revival. They're now up to 8th with a 4-2 win over Main Road at Brantingham Road. Liam Shepherd with another double to add to his impressive tally for the season. I believe that's 11 goals for him this season now, as Daisy Hill took a 4-0 lead into half-time at their game. So Nicky Hunt very much on the turnaround here.
Can Daisy Hill win the league?
I think anybody can win the league at this point.
Even with a 6... Okay, it's a 6-point deficit, but they've got to play those games.
Yeah.
You know, as we've mentioned there, Nelson have got to play those 5 games in hand as well, haven't they?
Bearing in mind as well, Daisy Hill have played more games than anybody else in the league.
Have Daisy Hill played Nelson at all?
Ooh. Yes.
Have they?
No, I don't know.
Whilst I'm chatting, can you check to see whether they've actually played them? Because that could make a big difference, really, couldn't it? Because, 6-point sway there in terms of an advantage. If Daisy Hill can beat them both home and away.
But can they? Can you see anybody beating Nelson at the minute? I can't even see anybody taking points off Nelson at this point.
Well, 2 teams did at the beginning of the season. We know there's been a change in management, but
Certainly
we also look at those moments where we thought that the likes of Padiham and Ramsbottom are invincible. There's teams in this division now that we expected to be doing far better in terms of Droylsden. Droylsden should be really, they should be in that top 3 teams based on previous seasons. So I don't really know. I say, I don't know apart from the fixtures whether Daisy Hill could do that.
They've already played them. Nelson have already played Daisy Hill once, and Nelson won by 1-0.
All right. So they've already got that 3-point advantage from beating them.
They certainly do. Yeah, they were meant to play them in a cup game a couple of weeks ago. That didn't happen.
No.
It was due to the storm. So they've got McGull this Saturday. So it's Nelson versus McGull. So that's 4th versus 2nd. That should be a really tasty game at Little Wembley.
So let's do what we did last season with Bury and Lower Breck. Bury had loads of games in on Lower Breck, didn't they? And we wondered whether the momentum could carry them through that. And they went on this marvellous, huge, unbeaten record, didn't they?
Did.
So we know that's possible.
Yeah.
But they already had the advantage in terms of they knew that they could overtake Lower Breck if they won all the games. So what we know is Nelson, if they win all their games, now that they've got on the top teams, then they could be 10 points ahead. Yeah,
they only need to win 2 games to be a point behind. A point ahead of Ashton Town. Okay, so 2 games out of the 5 that they've got in hand on Ashton, McGull and Darwin. So for me, right now it is Nelson's to lose, but I think anybody could win this league. I really do.
At this point, I know we're talking about a third of the season, is it? Something like that. What are we looking at? Who's the top 5?
Nelson, McGull, Darwin, Holker Old Boys.
You think? Oh yeah, because they've got that many games in.
Yeah. Bit of a dark horse.
Droylsden or Bacup. It's one or the other, isn't it? Really.
No, because you've got AFC Blackpool, 2 games in hand on Bacup and Droylsden, same level at the same points.
Yeah, because they've sort of come into the
nothing's happened out of the mechanics ground, and yet somehow they're there in 7th.
Yeah.
But
that's what intrigues me about this, because we think that we know for a fact that there's teams there with money, but we also know that some of those teams that have got the money are actually not in that top 5 yet.
Yeah, I know.
That's a spooky scenario, a scary scenario, like you say. Holker Old Boys. We're looking at maybe 6 or 7 teams there that can still
do things.
Could still do things. But listen, at the bottom of the table, we're still saying Garstang, Ashton Athletic and MSB Walton are going to be the strugglers.
I think MSB Walton are going to be fine.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I think Main Road may get pulled into this.
Yeah.
I do, and I don't like to say it because I think they are a club that, again, we kind of don't talk about enough, and are probably low-key better run than what we think they are. But between Garstang, Ashton Athletic and Main Road, I think those are the teams that will get dragged into it. And I think we talked about Garstang being on a bit of a last chance saloon because they escaped relegation last year, but they've lost several key personnel. They lost Bobby Carter earlier on last season, and they lost Dan Squires and Brad Emerson in goal. Sorry, not Brad Emerson. Joel. For God's sake, what's his name? He wears he wears short sleeves. He thinks he's Iker Casillas. He moved to.
All our players play in short sleeves.
They do actually, but not the goalkeeper. No, even the goalkeeper. Actually,
the goalkeeper, yeah.
Mental.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think Garstang. I think Garstang will finish bottom, but I think they may get a reprieve based on their points if they can get more than what they have done right now.
Yeah, and the surprise package really in that. Not surprise package, but they're doing better than we expected. Fullwood Amateurs, and best of luck.
Fullwood Amateurs sitting in 10th. Yeah, I think
all you can do is win more games than you lose, and that's what they're doing.
Well, yeah, exactly. 5 wins, 3 draws, 4 losses. Got an amazing goal scorer up front in Spencer Lucas. I think he's up there in about the top 6 of the top goal scorers in the division as well. So,
and it's nice to see Thorns and Cleveley's not struggling either.
This is true. Yeah, we talked about them as being a bit of a remote force up there on the Fylde coast, but well north of it. Get a really good average gate in there of over 200, and starting to do some serious bits there. So yeah, I don't know if they might have a say in the playoffs before the end of the season, but I certainly believe they can finish in the top half.
Yeah, so listen, we'll move on to Division 1 South.
Yes, we will.
Runcorn are 6 points ahead of Eccleshaw. They beat Allscott Heath 3-2 on Tuesday night. Not a great deal, like I said before, not a great deal happening because of Macron Cup competition and a lot of postponements over the weekend, but they've managed to keep themselves up in that nice lofty position and 6 points ahead of Eccleshaw, as I say. Barnton in third place. Telford, sort of a little bit of indifference for them.
A little bit of a wobble here and there, but
they had a 2-2 draw with Wolverhampton Sporting Community, the bottom club, and we expected probably a little bit more from them at the weekend after managing to gain a point against Telford, but they sort of went back to type again. They lost 3-1 to Market Drayton at the weekend, so still, a point game, but then 1 step forward and 2 steps back. With it doesn't look good for them, but looking really, really good for Runcorn now. It's momentum, isn't it? Your points in the bag. You don't really look at the games in hand behind them then, and you look at Telford. Yeah, they've got two games in hand, but they'll still be 6 points behind, even if they manage to claim those points. So we're looking at that top 5, top 6, 7 teams there. The strugglers, the ones that we weren't expecting to be in 7th position at this moment in time. Stafford.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
That's a bonkers one, really, because like you say, after last season, I would have honestly thought. Yeah, I honestly thought that they were due to go up as well. I mean, even though we talk about Abbey Hulton United, who went up via the playoffs last season, being the form team that could make it to step 4, we didn't think that Stafford Town had suffered this badly for it. I think Sandbach are only just making their way back into the equation as well. They've had a few bumps and bobbles.
And of course, they drew midweek against Stafford Town at Stafford. That was 2-2. They managed to score in the 93rd minute. So to give it more context, Sandbach were leading the game 1-0 with Joseph Bevan scoring in the 9th minute. Stafford Town managed to get back on terms in the 56th minute when Sam Lynch scored. Stafford Town must have thought that they got all 3 points as Matthew Hersey scored in the 90th minute. But then, like I say, in the 93rd minute, Carl Foley has managed to snatch a draw from the jaws of defeat.
Very much so, yeah.
In front of a really disappointing crowd for Stafford, I thought.
On a Tuesday night, yeah.
But Tuesdays are difficult, we know.
Tuesdays are difficult in the First Division South as well. Runcorn did get back to winning ways, though, against Allscott Heath. won 3-2. On the Saturday prior, though, they were in the Macron Cup third round against Telford Town and got smashed 4-0 at Telford as well. An excellent result there for Matt Boswell and his troops. But going back to Stafford, seventh in the table, and they're quite substantially off the chasing pack. 14 points behind Runcorn Town, but 8 points behind Eccleshall in second place. So still a little bit to play for, but they've got some catching up to do. Of the Stafford Town boys.
So what we're looking at there, we're still confident Runcorn can do it.
I think so.
The playoff.
The playoffs are really difficult, but for me, I think it's a bit of a toss-up between Eccleshall and Telford. Just between those two, I think that could be a bit of a winner-takes-all, and I'm not sure who could do it at this point. I think both of them have the muscle to kind of do it.
Yeah, and there's no other results from there. We'll just take a brief look at the Macron Cup and the results there. I've lost my pages on that one, but where is the Macron? Oh, yeah.
So Friday night.
Did it start on Friday night?
It did start on Friday night when two games were played. Exton Villa against fellow Premier side Charnock Richard. It was a topsy-turvy opening 90 minutes that finished 3-3, with Charnock Richard coming from 3-1 down to draw 3-3 with just a few minutes of normal time remaining. The game went straight to penalties, and Exton Villa, who've developed a bit of a habit of winning penalty shootouts, they triumphed by 4-3 to end the Green Army's interest in the Macron Cup for another year. And MSB Woolton entertained Thornton Cleveleys down in Liverpool, at a game which Thornton Cleveleys cantered to victory by 5-0. Oliver Wilkinson and Daniel Stoney grabbing a brace each to send them into the fourth round hat. And then on the Saturday, we had several games being played out. Burscough, they won 3-1 against Blackpool, with goals from Callum Laird, Kean Bell and Matt Hamilton, adding a bit of a shine to their victory over the Tangerines. Also a happy birthday to Jay Hawkes, the chairman of Burscough, who celebrated his birthday earlier on this week. I hope he had an excellent day. Cheadle Town triumphed over Chadderton in the CH Derby. No. They won 2-1 against the hot promotion favourites from Oldham. Ramsbottom were edged out at the Harry Williams Riverside Stadium against West Didsbury and Chorlton by 2-1. Sandbach United took on Nelson at the Sandbach Community Stadium and lost by 3-1 as Aaron Ripley's side from East Lancashire continued their amazing run of form. We've already talked about Telford and their excellent result against Runcorn Town. So that rounds up the Macron Cup, really. Yeah,
it does. It does indeed. And let's look at what we were looking at next, because I've lost my notes. We're looking.
Are we going to? We are. Little and Remica.
We've been moving on to the FA Trophy. Listen, so both Marine and Southport progressed to the next round of the FA Trophy the other weekend. Marine beat Stocksbridge Park Steels 2-0 away from home, and Southport edged a thrilling encounter at Buxton as they triumphed 3-2. Buxton clawed their way back into the game after going down 2-0, but a red card and a resulting penalty restored Port's lead. Marine were away to Cares and Ashton in the next round, and Southport are at home to Leek in the next round, which will be played on the 13th of December. So both games, I probably got myself a little bit mixed up there, but both winnable fixtures for both, give them a good opportunity to progress to the fourth round as well, and make a little bit of decent money. And talking about Southport and Marine, domestically, both clubs are doing well. Marine are unbeaten in the last 5 games, and after Tuesday night's 2-0 home win over Kidderminster Harriers, they've jumped into 5th spot. I didn't see that one coming. Whatever Bobby Grant has done, it seems to be working right now, particularly as it seemed like they were heading the wrong way. At one stage. We've mentioned this before. Southport are unbeaten in the last 6 games, and after their 2-0 win over Radcliffe, high at lofty Radcliffe on Tuesday night, they're now out of the bottom 4 and in 18th place, albeit it's still a really, really tight sort of bottom end of the table. But I was going to say, it's such a competitive league that I'm looking at the attendances and what have you. I didn't expect Hereford to be as low as where they were. There was, once upon a time, the best supported clubs used to be the ones that did well. So you've got Hereford, who are 3rd in the attendance, the average home attendance, with 2,546. Kidderminster Harriers just above them with 2,622. Macclesfield are up the top with 2,933. But the teams that are doing particularly well, South Shields 1,804. Just trying to think who's up there. AFC Fylde 962.
Yeah.
The teams that you'd expect to be.
To a degree, yeah. It's nice to see teams like Chorley and Southport having a representation in the top 10, though. We know that Chorley have gathered an awful lot of support since heavy reinvestment into the club by the boys from Boyzone have come in, but they've made amazing investments into their infrastructure, and particularly as a host ground for the away day buses that redivert them from south to north, stopping at their ground and spend a lot of money in their fan zone there. It brings them an awful lot of money in there. And Southport as well, sitting alone on that on that coastline of Merseyside, with a great catchment in there of 1,250 to Hague Avenue.
The gates have improved since the new lads got involved.
Yeah, since the property developing duo came in, and also Neil Dans as well, who's finally looking to be turning things around for Port as well. I think they're up to about 18th in the league. Did you say?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So another 18th, so another really, really good turnaround for Southport, and just like that on the weekend they beat yesterday, so Tuesday night, they beat Radcliffe by 2 goals to 0.
I wasn't expecting that, because I think Radcliffe are up in 6th place or something like that.
They are. They're exactly 6th, just a point behind Marine, who are in 5th. But Southport's little renaissance is pulling together now, so they're unbeaten in their last 5 games, so they've pulled away from second bottom, and they're now up to 18th, just a point behind AFC Telford United, and 2 points behind Bedford Town, Kings Lynn Town, and 4 points behind Chester and Macclesfield.
Yeah, and in terms of Marine and their progression, we know about the plans to move to another ground, and that's been highlighted over the last week or so again. I think James Leary has done another interview about the plans, and when they actually dig the turf and start. Looking at where they are now, and they continue with that momentum, they're not really. They're not really made to go up at the moment, are they? It's a bit, things are happening a bit too soon for them.
Yeah, I think they're running before they can walk, and I think that's probably due down to the excellent progress that Bobby Grant is making. Do I think they're going to stay in the playoffs?
No, probably not. I don't. But you wouldn't want them to if it's going to be detrimental towards them.
Well, no, we've had this.
But a lucrative playoff scenario would be good for them.
Yeah, I mean, we had this conversation before, about what a team's natural level is. I think Marine can be bigger than this. I don't think they're ready for it right now, though. I think for now, if they consolidate their place in the National League North, move to the new stadium, get the financial infrastructure to support their move, then I think they start to look and be bigger. Will Bobby Grant still be there?
I just wonder whether what would happen if in the bizarre sense they end up getting promoted.
If they end up getting promoted, I think they would need to.
I don't know whether I don't know the National League. I know the National League North. Obviously, they've only got 3 sides to the stadium. So one of the big reasons for progress. Or to progress is another stadium. You need to get into another stadium.
Hence the move.
4 stands. I don't know what the criteria is for the National League. I should have a look at that. But I don't know of any, unless people correct me, I don't know of anybody that's got a 3-sided pitch in the National League. And maybe that would prevent them from going up. That said, they normally in non-league circles, you normally get 12 months. Basically 9 months grace to get your stadium up to criteria so you can stay in that league. But I don't know, and we need. Listen, I'll do the research on that one. We'll come to that next week. But for now, listen, should we go over to Controversial Corner? Because we've done a fair bit of yakking now. Or have you got something you want to
just one more? I mean, we obviously we cover the games against from Marine and Southport quite routinely. I want to cover Clitheroe, as is my want. So a few weeks ago we reported that Sean McConville, the Clitheroe manager, identified in a post-match interview that there are some players on his squad that will never wear the Clitheroe shirt again after a 1-0 defeat at Whitton Albion. Since then, his team have now gone 4 games unbeaten, including 3 straight wins over Wythenshawe Town, Congleton Town and Stafford Rangers. And then their most recent result was a 1-1 draw at home to Chase Town. That's boosted them from I think they were 15th in the league at that point. They are now up to 10th and have a game in hand on Atherton Collieries, who are in 9th. So
the biggest excitement in Clitheroe at the moment is the visit on the 13th of December in the next round of the FA Trophy when they've got York City.
Yes, they're hosting
so they've got
York
that
City
to look forward to as well. I wonder how many people they're going to get cram into that ground.
Well, this is it.
What is it set at? Do we know?
It's set at...
I'm not too sure
myself. I don't know if it's 2,000. It may be 2,000.
It's a very tight ground.
It is, and they actually made some logistical arrangements that they informed people of prior to it. Okay, so it will be
2,000. Yeah, it is 2,000. Whether that's reduced because of, I mean, whether they have to segregate.
Soft segregation is going to be in place for this one. Said, that's exactly what they said. So there's key areas of the ground solely for Clitheroe.
Is soft segregation, does that mean that it's just silly?
Yeah.
Silly.
Yeah, in effect, yeah.
Soft to me says that that's going to cause you problems. But
there's a bit of there's a lot of middle ground. You would imagine it's probably about 90% of the ground is going to be integration, and then 10%.
Do we know how many tickets York have been allocated?
Yes, we do. They have been allocated 500 tickets.
Only 500.
They
must be confident that they can sell within the
I think, of course
they might release more tickets. But...
Maybe. You bear in mind as well, the capacity for the game is indicatively set at 2,000. York have been allocated 500 tickets. Clitheroe tickets will be initially offered to the 350 season ticket holders, so that's 850. And then you've got another 1,150 tickets to be allocated out to the general population, which will be absolutely snapped.
What are they averaging at the moment, the home gates?
About 600.
600.
Yeah.
They got that nearer to the 1,000 mark, didn't they, this season?
Once upon a time,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I think it'd achieve that, I would imagine that. Listen, this is going to be a great day out.
Stunning game.
I mean, even better if they can get a draw and go up to York, because York is fantastic.
Yeah, York is an amazing operation, isn't it?
Yeah.
But to reflect the major increase in the costs of staging such a significant game, they have had to bump up the ticket prices. So adults tickets are going to be £15, concession rate is £10, teenagers between 14 and 17 is £7, and under 14s who have to be accompanied by an adult, £5 to the Loom Loft Stadium.
That's fair enough, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. Because the logistics of hosting York City in arguably one of their biggest games against one of the highest ranked teams that they will ever have faced in their competition history.
Yeah.
Of course they want to do it properly. So fair enough to clear the row. They're now up to 10th in the league as well.
Yeah, so best of luck to
Sean
McConville and Clitheroe Football Club. Got a soft spot for Clitheroe.
Yeah, we do.
I think you mentioned it before. My dad had a caravan in Little Bradford.
Yes, you did.
Little Bradford, West Bradford. Was it West Bradford?
No, it was Little Bradford.
No, it might have been West Bradford. Oh, I can't remember now, but it was something Bradford anyway.
Baby Bradford.
So we spent a lot of time in Clitheroe many moons ago. So
Sweet.
yeah, good luck to them. Listen, let's go to controversial corner.
Yes.
Let's talk about agents. Not a great deal of traction off this. I mean, I've not looked at the vote on it, but I've asked the question. Is there a right time to recruit a agent for a footballer at non-league level, and which level at non-league level should you be securing the services of an agent? So get a little bit of context to from where I'm coming from. So from February 2024 to 2025, the total net paid to agents for the Premier League was 409 million. Now it appears that every agent or wannabe agent is now attempting to perform daylight robbery at our level.
Okay.
And when I say that is, I was once approached by a consortium of so-called agents who said to me, what have you got in terms of what's your playing budget? And I'd explained to them what it was, and it wasn't very much. And they said, well, this is how it works for us. You give us the money and we give you the players. And then they pay them, but they take their cut from it beforehand. And then they can also exercise the right to pull them out as and when they want, which doesn't give you really much momentum or control, never mind anything else. So I know of one player, and I'm not deliberately being controversial here, and I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus or attack anybody on a personal level. But one of our players was approached by a so-called agency and signed up for the agency. I don't know what that entails, but what I do know is if that you're playing in Liverpool County Premier League and your appearances come from mainly the bench, that you are not at the level, and maybe 16 to 18 years of age, you're nowhere near the level where you need an agent to help you sort of elevate your position in football. So my question is, and I know what the answer to most of it and most people would say is, if you've got a manager that's good enough for your football club, he will manage you to the level, he will get you the move. He'll know when you are too good for that team. So, as an example, Craig Noon, that played for us, who played in the Premier League, he signed for, eventually went on to sign for Plymouth and then ended up at Cardiff. But when he was with Skem, he was too good for us. And we knew that at some stage, we were preventing him from progressing. And we had to make a decision. We made a decision to basically cut his contract, cut his ties from the football club, and moved him over to Berscough when they were in the National League North. And from that, he got elevated from that to Southport, played 87 minutes of a game there, was talent spotted and ended up going to Plymouth in £100,000 deal. That was managed properly. There was no agents involved. That said, there was a person that was involved that had experience of selling players to the Football League. And that's how it was done. So my question to you, never mind everybody else, is what's your opinion? What's your impression on a player in our team now having an agent?
I don't think they need that. I think that's just an extra, particularly at the age that our lads are as well. If you discount Craig Fitzjohn, all of our players are significantly under the age of about 24. And a lot of them are teenagers, 16, 17, 19, 20. Yeah, exactly. They don't need that kind of influence in their sphere. They should just be focusing on playing football at this time, developing and under the protection of a manager with a duty of care. Unless you've got a player who is a significant, once in a blue moon talent who will make it to, the higher echelons of non-league and maybe even onto the professional circuit, I don't think you need one.
I remember in my first tenure as chairman of Skelmersdale United Football Club, I remember Tommy Lawson approaching, I might have this slightly wrong, but it was either me or Tommy Lawson approached one of the players to put him on a contract, and he said, let me go and speak to my agent first. We didn't have a clue he had an agent. Arguably, was he a reputable agent? Well, that's...
Anyone can call themselves an agent.
In terms of a success, yeah, but to be a registered one, I think he was a registered, or he certainly is a registered agent at this moment in time. But in terms of... So, you imagine being offered £150 a week contract at Skelmersdale United Football Club and having to pay your first £50 to your agent. Now, there's absolutely no guarantee that you're going to go any higher up or you're going to make any greater money. So I would say that if your lifestyle suggests that you need £1,000 a week to live on, right, then you want to be taking £1,150. I'm assuming that, 15% being the agent's fee. That £150 still keeps you with £1,000 for your wages. But apart from that, if you want to move any higher up, our football clubs put off. We know they are. We were talking to somebody the other week, weren't we, about how it stifled their career having an agent. I can't remember who it was now, but it doesn't really matter. But it does to a degree. It can stifle your career. I know of a player that was studying in a university. He'd signed up with an agent, and the agent wanted him to come out of university to join a football club further afield. And when he didn't get what he wanted, and he put pressure on the manager, all for the fact that all he was going to gain from this was £1,000, he destroyed that lad. He destroyed his potential, his immediate sort of career. I think, and that's, we're talking about Northwest Counties Premier. Northwest Counties Premier. We know there's a lot of people assigned to agents. Do agents ever get involved in their contract details with non-league football clubs? I think what it does is it stops a non-league football club from issuing contracts. The agents are running the football clubs basically then, because they're not going to sign for you because they always think that there's going to be something bigger and better around the corner. And
that's what an agent's job is, isn't it? If you think about it in the crudest of ways, an agent's job is to look for something that's a bit greener on the other side, so to speak.
But are they always doing that? That's the question. And how far do they dip down? If I was an agent, I wouldn't be taking players on that. They'd have to have huge potential. You'd have to say they look like they're going to be
serious.
They're going to be another flipping, I don't know.
Richard Brodie.
Or a Jeff Horsfield, or I'm talking about players that have come, Ian Wright, that have come from non-league football, Jamie Vardy, you know what I mean, Craig Noon, you've
Mickey
got
Burns.
Yeah, Mickey Burns, Peter Sudderby, the Steve Highway. There's loads of players. If you go further back, that was way before agents were really involved. But I think you've got to have an eye for talent and not just be signing players on because it makes your agency look good. But like I said, we didn't get an awful lot of traction. I've asked people to sort of come in on the debate, and as is often happens, a lot of people don't because they don't understand it. And probably a lot of people are surprised that anybody at such a level would have an agent anyway.
True.
But I just think...
not necessary at this level.
Sod off and let them play football.
Just let them play football, man.
Who do you think you are?
Shark.
Yeah.
The thing is, this is what managers are for at the minute.
Find players that are going to be established within a year or two, not players that might need 3 or 4.
Yeah. I know. This is what managers are for. They've got a duty of care towards the players to make sure that they are protected in the best way possible. You know, I'm sure Andy is as well. But Tommy was a huge proponent of player care. Yeah. You know, he's old school in that regard. But you know, player welfare was one of his top priorities. And if he thought a player was being mistreated or mishandled, he'd get involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, and make sure that player was protected.
Yeah, so listen, we park the bus there, and maybe somebody will listen in on the show and add more context to it. It'd be nice to get an agent on.
Yes.
Certainly an agent that's operating at this level, and see what their theory is behind the advantages of. We can certainly see the disadvantages. I'd like to see what the advantages are of employing the services of an agent at this level. But listen, we move on?
Yes, we do. And we're going to move to the south coast of Eastbourne. So Eastbourne Borough suffered a very embarrassing loss at the weekend.
I think it was the weekend before, wasn't it? But
fine. I'm
not entirely sure now. It's just that because we've had a week off, I've lost my timeline. But it doesn't matter really. But what they've done is within 12 hours of the end of the game, they've decided.
They lost 7-0 to Torquay.
Torquay,
so
yeah.
Not an easy game. Torquay, no. Big club.
Yeah, I've been to Eastbourne. I've watched Eastbourne. Played nice little setup there, but what they've done is they've been battered, and then the chairman board of directors has decided to reimburse every single person that travelled to the game
out of the pockets of the players. Yes.
Now there's controversy already surrounding this because the current chairman is not very popular.
Okay. That's unfortunate for him.
So this doesn't really. So we'll look at it in the.
They are bottom of the league.
Yeah. So there is a statement by the club, and it says, in the last 12 hours, some of the comments aimed at our players, staff, and our club have moved from frustration into personal hate, and I'm not going to let that go unanswered. Yesterday's defeat hurt us all. No one at the football club is pretending otherwise. The performance was not satisfactory, and we will address it directly. But there is a clear line between criticism and abuse, and some people have crossed it. You can question decisions, you can challenge performances, you can expect more, and you should. What you can't do is attack people with vile personal comments. That doesn't make the team play any better. It doesn't move the club forward. It harms individuals. It worries the families, and it damages the community we're trying to build. At half-time yesterday, we decided to refund the entry fee ticket for every supporter who travelled. They deserve that respect. Their commitment is something we are genuinely grateful for, and they deserve to know it was noticed and we appreciate it. This club is built on honesty, ambition, togetherness, and not on tearing each other apart. We're rebuilding something meaningful here. The journey will have setbacks, and yesterday was one of them, but online hate will not define who we are or who we become. The majority of our fans are passionate, loyal, and fair, and I want to thank you for that. You are the heartbeat of the club. We'll respond where it matters on the pitch, and we'll move forward together with belief and ambition and respect. A supporter said some things on the radio, BBC Radio Sussex last night that were correct, and some that were incorrect. That's okay. But what he thought about the game before the game, as we did, was that yesterday's team was stronger, but football always delivers the truth. Please come on Friday and meet the manager and have your say, Simon. So I'm assuming Simon is the chairman of the football club. I think he's relatively new, and he's trying to turn the club's fortunes around. But I mean, it's totally got different context now, because you're saying he's reimbursed all the travelling supporters, but he's taking it out of the players' pockets.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I'm of the opinion that players don't deliberately not put in a performance.
No.
It doesn't happen for some reason, and then when more than one person is not performing, You're going to have those days where you get beat 9-4 or 7-0.
Yeah, you are. So the chairman in question is Simon Leslie. Okay, and the last season they were in the National League South and they finished third. So the expectations are already quite high before the season's even begun. And after 18 games in the season, they've won 2, drawn 6, and lost 10. Okay, so the performance is there already pretty poor. Okay, and it's not even the case that they are now, battling to stay inside contention for the playoffs as they hoped that they would. They're actually battling to save themselves from relegation out of the National League South and into the more regional competition.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can understand why, from an Eastbourne Borough point of view, they are hurting, and they want more for what they are getting, and to lose to Torquay by 7-0 is obviously highly embarrassing for the club. What I agree with Simon Leslie that the comments can't be harmful and attack individuals. We talked about this before. There's a line between
and everybody's crossing it.
Criticism and abuse, and they've crossed it, yeah.
But everybody's doing it right across the football system.
I'm afraid so, but that's social media. They think it's freedom of speech. But anyway, what I think he needs to be careful of is setting a precedent of reimbursing the cost of match tickets.
So where I've obviously overlooked the detail there. Where did it actually say that they were reimbursing through the players'
following today's unacceptable result, EBFC players will be reimbursing the cost of match tickets for all travelling supporters.
I've misread that then.
It's perfectly fine. So that's where it's come from. Now, I assume that Simon Leslie has kind of made that a bit of a point of principle that the players cannot perform like that and expect to still be paid without ramification. And I remember something that Tony Young said, the Blythe Spartans fan, when his team lost 5-0 to Bamber Bridge, and he made that impassioned rant. He said that if he'd performed that badly in his job, he would have been sacked ages ago. And that's absolutely correct. What I think Simon Leslie does need to be careful of is that they're not paying out every single time they lose a football game that badly.
Well, that was my question. Should the clubs be reimbursing supporters? I don't believe they should, and certainly don't believe they should be reimbursing it out of the players' pockets unless the players have agreed to it. At the end of the day, you've still gone out and performed. Yeah. You might have a bad day in work. You might be working on a production line, screwing bottles on detergent bottles. If you miss one every 100, you're going to get you're going to have to reimburse your whole week's wages because you've done it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be a line drawn there, and I don't know who he's doing this for. I don't know whether he's doing this for the supporters or he's doing it for his own
point proven, his own legacy at the club now.
Protect his
integrity.
Not his integrity, but his persona right now, because he's not a very popular person. I'm assuming he's not a popular person.
I mean, to be bottom of the club, to be bottom of the league, I don't think anybody at the club is popular in particular. You would hope very much.
Know that.
Yeah. So, I think I would hope very much that he would have agreed with the players to do this first. And I think as long as it's not a constant occurrence, they can't lose every game and expect to reimburse the fans. But at the minute,
let's sort of flesh this out a little bit. Rather than reimburse the supporters, I think it would be a much better approach to turn around and say, listen, first week of December in our clubhouse you get a free pint and a mince pie. I would far more appreciate that than say I'm going to get reimbursed. I go to a football match knowing that if I pay money, if it's a disappointing 0-0 draw, I feel deflated and think to myself, crikey, it's cost me £45 to go and watch that dross. But I don't automatically look for it. It's a game of chance, isn't it? It's a gamble.
It is a bit of a game of chance as well, but when you consider that at the National League South level, which they are, and bearing in mind as well,
Potentially a big club.
Yeah, it is. Eastbourne, which is on the other side of Brighton, sort of towards Hastings, to drive to Torquay, for which you have to go through Chichester, Southampton, past Bournemouth and Dorchester, and then past Exeter as well. That's a 4.5 hour drive.
Is it?
It is a 4.5 hour drive, even to take the A23 and the M3. It's an enormous mooch, and then you've got petrol, you've got food, you've got your tickets, and everything that kind of comes with it. So that's quite a lot of money, particularly for a 9-hour round trip. So in that respect, yeah, absolutely, I'd reimburse 100%. It was 7-0 as well. That's embarrassing.
As the chairman of a football club, that is obviously struggling to elevate the team higher than, or give the tools to the management team in order for them to progress. Throwing money back at the supporters, I would imagine. I don't know how many turned up, by the way.
No.
It might have only been a handful, and maybe that's why the gesture's been made.
Yeah.
I think it would change, wouldn't it, if 350 to 500 people plus were going.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of reimbursement there.
Yes, it is. That's what 500 times about 20. So that's what 10 grand. No, you can't fork that out.
No, and we don't know whether these players are full-time players.
I doubt it very much.
Whether this is mortgage paying money, and if it isn't, even if it isn't, if this is a part-time living for them, whatever they're earning could be paying for the cost of buying a car over 3-5 years, you know what I mean?
If you're using your football funds to buy a car and finance it over years, then you're making silly decisions.
Well, a lot of people do. If you get a 3-year contract with the football club, that pays for the car.
I know it does, but nobody. How many players see out a contract? Not many.
No, if they don't see out a contract, they get another contract wherever they go. So it normally either surpasses or equals what they have. And but a lot of people do. People include it in the wages, in their overall sort of income. It's very hard not to, isn't it? When you've got you rely on a certain amount of money for a long period of time. It becomes. You lose it. If you lose it, it hurts. It hurts very quickly. But what I'm saying to you is that I don't think it's a good look for a club to reimburse supporters. I think there's other ways you can do it, much more friendly ways you can do it, by having a meet the club and a free pint and mince pie. There's other ways of talking to and getting them down. And listen, the vast majority of people. The people that really care about the football club will turn up. Those that don't won't, because they don't want to speak up.
This is true.
They just prefer to be on the keyboards.
Yeah. I think this was fine to do this once, but I wouldn't make it a habit.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So, Sunday League.
Yeah.
This is a little story that was sort of making the rounds a couple of weeks ago.
This is absolutely ridiculous. So, a Sunday League football match in Warwick ended with a player being jailed after a post-match confrontation turned into a violent assault that left an opponent seriously injured. Thomas Scott, 34 years old, from Bromwich Drive in Warwick, was sentenced to 12 months in prison after admitting to grievous bodily harm on Bishop Tatbrook player David Bates, an incident that took place moments after Scott's team, VTS Warwick, suffered a heavy 10-0 defeat. What began as a routine league game escalated with tensions between the two men who had clashed during the match, continuing as players walked to the changing rooms. Witnesses recall hearing a shout before Bates turned to see Scott approaching. Although Bates attempted to end the exchange by telling Scott to give it a rest, Scott escalated the confrontation by demanding to know what Bates intended to do about it. A brief clash of heads followed, after which Bates walked away into the changing rooms, but Scott followed him and struck him with a forceful blow that caused him to collapse. The impact left Bates with a broken nose and fractures in his eye socket, causing lasting vision problems and placing strain on his livelihood as he was unable to work for a period while his eyesight recovered. When questioned, Scott initially denied wrongdoing and claimed acting in self-defence, and the defence argued that tensions during the game had contributed to Scott's loss of control. The judge rejected this and stressed that dispute in sports must never be carried into the changing rooms or anywhere else off the pitch. They pointed out that Scott had multiple opportunities to walk away but chose instead to pursue a confrontation. Scott, a father of 6 and already a grandfather at 34, had set a poor example through his actions. The court concluded that the seriousness of the assault meant that the sentence could not be suspended, reinforcing the message that violence linked to sporting events will be treated the same as violence occurring in any public setting. Wow. That is the first time I think I have ever known of a player to be jailed for an outburst which has happened on the pitch. And now we've talked about...
I think it's happened before. I mean, I can't sort of recall off the top of my head.
Oh, yeah, but you've been in this sport a lot longer.
It'll have certainly happened before. I think what sort of worried me about was the judge's comments about that. He'd noted that he was a father of 6 and already a grandfather at 34. Ooh. Sort of sets the scene for what you're going to do in terms of... I think... You know, if this was a 34-year-old man that's a solicitor and, I don't know, it's sort of pigeonholing him, it's sort of, I don't know, putting him in a different light by saying that he's a grandfather at 34. It doesn't sound very good, does it?
No, and I wonder, you kind of have to wonder what relevance that is, that he's a father of 6 and a grandfather at 34. Yeah, a father of 6 at the age of 34. You know.
Why point it out?
Yeah,
what's the point in pointing that out? I can't see why that comment is being made by the judge. Let's not forget, first and foremost, that Scott deserves to be where he is.
Yeah.
You know, there's absolutely no doubt about that. And you can argue the toss and say that he didn't get long enough because there doesn't seem to have been a great deal of provocation, does there?
No, not at all. You know, the fact that...
It's worrying, isn't it, that at this level, whether it be Sunday League, we hear of violence at kids' games.
Yeah, we heard about the violence at the St Helens, where the player had the fractured skull. A few weeks back, we reported on it.
Yeah.
It's a gentleman from Ghana who worked in the NHS.
Yeah, so that was...
that was in Liverpool, wasn't it?
Yeah, was that the... where was it? God, I should remember that now, yeah. It was Ormskirk West End.
Ormskirk West End.
He was a player, they were playing the team.
And he...
Was it Saint? Yeah, they probably played Saint Helens Town or something like that. But
a team in St Helens.
It's happening more and more.
It's insane, isn't it?
I think we mentioned intimidation at these lower leagues, and certainly in Sunday League, and a lot of this,
we've witnessed that.
A lot of it's sort of policed. Yeah. So people, you don't hear of an awful lot of. Well, you hear of what's happened, but they often go unreported because people brush it under the carpet and they sort it out between them because there's still this grass culture. You know, we don't want to grass, so it doesn't get reported. And I don't think that helps the situation because it becomes the norm. And I think I worry. I don't like. I've been to business houses, leagues, games. I've been to back in the day when we used to have 2 Sunday leagues in Skem. I used to go and watch games then. The violence that used to erupt during them games and after them was unbelievable. Sometimes, I mean, and the referees had run all the way home in the kit. You know, it could get that bad at times. I don't envy anybody that's in those areas where it's not as easily contained and there's not as much. You know, what we try to do at Skem is, even though that we've landed in the division that we are, we're still trying to steward our games to a degree. Yeah, we're still managing stadium management. You can't do this on Sunday League football pitches. No. You can't do it by and large on these community hubs. It's very, very difficult to do. I think it's a slippery slope. I think people are getting more angry, and I think we need to be setting the sort of marker on it. We need to be making sure that people know that once you've crossed that line, you're going to get a proper prison sentence. Mm-hmm. It's the very idea that you could go to watch football, whether it be kids football, Sunday football, Saturday football, at any level, and your son, daughter, father, mother, sister, whoever might not come back.
It's unthinkable, isn't it?
It's unthinkable. It's football at the end of the day.
Football.
Wobble your heads. Get over it. we know. I think we know through this league now. If we were beating a team 4-0 on Saturday, they would argue till the end. They would fall out with each other, and we know of some teams that would sooner have a fight than finish a game when they're losing. It happened at Avro. It was at Avro, wasn't it? With
Kidsgrove.
With Kidsgrove. There was the accusation that they didn't want to finish the game, so they caused uproar at the end of it. It's total embarrassment. But we're talking about, that's Northern Premier League West, wasn't it?
Yes, it is.
Where that happened, it's unacceptable at any level. So I'm glad he's put him in jail. I don't think 12 months is that all he's given? 12 months in prison. He'd be out in 6. Or 9, whatever.
So he did have previous convictions for public order offences, although none of them were recent.
Yeah,
Make of that what you will.
He's probably being violent allegedly could have been by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
But then, like I say, why they have to mention he's a father of 6 and he's a grandfather at 34, and then turned around and said he'd had set a poor example through his actions.
Yeah.
That comes straight after mentioning that. If this was a 34-year-old accountant, he would have been treated differently.
I think you might be right. Yeah, I think he's been written off as a father of 6. Do you reckon he was meant to set a better example because he's a father of 6 and a grandfather of 1?
It's all down to interpretation. My interpretation there would be probably what most people would interpret, is that it makes it sound as though this is somebody that's not really particularly gone down the lines of conventional relationships, having children at the right age and such like. I don't know, but listen, it's just unacceptable. Anyway, now, what I'm saying to you is, if he gets a bad sentence, then the same should happen for anyone that's perceivably or is of a more professional background and has lived a better life.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on to AFC Rushden and Diamonds, the supporter is being banned indefinitely after attending any games or events relating to the club following his sexist comments made towards a female assistant referee. This relates to an incident that took place at the other weekend during a game against Coventry Sphinx. The exclusion is indefinite but may be reviewed should the individual complete an approved educational programme on acceptable behaviour in football, particularly concerning protected characteristics such as those offered by Kick It Out, to whom the club has signposted the individual. So I don't know what you make of this, because we're hearing this more and more often now, is that people from the sidelines are getting caught for things that they're saying off the pitch. If you're at Goodison Park if you're at the Bramley-Moore Dock, the Hill Dickinson Stadium, and you're in the upper echelons of the stand, then you're not going to be heard. And there's not going to be any repercussions. So the repercussions now for a supporter at a smaller ground are more significant than they are when the chants from the terraces of bigger clubs is disgusting, to say the least. So I don't know what your thoughts is on it.
So we as a football community have worked really hard to be inclusive as much as we can. There's rainbow laces, taking the knee, visiting children hospitals, all of the things that we do to try and be inclusive. And I'm sure AFC Rushden and Diamonds are probably one of those clubs that work hard to be embedded within the community and try and be inclusive for all. And I think we kind of gloss over abuse made to the referee and their assistants as just being reflective of their ability to manage a game on a particular day. I think that the minute that you make it personal in any way, shape or form is the minute that an official can't just shake it off as being customary sideline abuse.
We don't know what was said.
We don't. Unfortunately, they never made that public.
So if you give a different scenario to it, say for example, somebody is called a female assistant a BITCH.
Yeah.
In comparison to that, a male assistant referee gets called TWAT. You don't. You're not going to report a bloke that's called. I'm just wondering that, and I'm throwing it out there because I don't know. Are we protecting female assistant and line officials? Are we protecting them more than we're protecting the male comparison?
No,
I think we are.
do you reckon?
Yeah.
The thing is that I think having female officials in male sports is a good idea because you don't need to have, despite what Des Lynam says, you don't need to have coached or played the men's game in order to officiate in the men's sports. You don't. We had a brilliant situation in the international rugby over the weekend where a female referee took charge of a New Zealand rugby game for the very first time in their history. She's 33 years old. Her name's Holly Davison. She did brilliantly. I watched the game.
Yeah.
All right, so having female officials in men's sport is a good thing. It's a positive.
So we don't want to scare them off.
No, I don't think it's a case about scare. I think it is.
Well, we do. Men are scared off from the
men's games.
Yeah. It's difficult. You know the amount of abuse that officials.
It's intimidating.
It's
really
intimidating.
And I wonder if being a woman there, I don't know if it was her first game there or whether what was said to her actually felt more real and more visceral than any kind of abuse that she'd received beforehand. I don't know the nature of what was said.
So I think it's stated that it was a sexist comment.
Yeah.
So what's the bare minimum of a sexist comment? Because a sexist comment applies to both men and women. It's not just women.
Yeah.
So if you say something about, we often hear words said about male officials every single week.
Yes, we do.
We've had really fat. And I'm a fat man myself, so I can say that.
You can say it.
We've had really fat men in sport that have been officiating and running the lines or have been referees, and we've said to them, you are not fit to be playing this game because you can't keep up with the pace.
Yeah.
So men get bashed.
Yeah.
Something rotten. I mean, I remember having we've mentioned it before, I've had two or three confrontations with referees or officials this season. One of them I didn't realise was wearing a band that recognises that he's under 18 years of age. So he was a junior trainee official, and I apologised to him at the end of the game, and he apologised to me and said, I got it wrong anyway. You were right, but the way you handled it was wrong. So we agreed upon something. We had one official that wore a baseball hat.
If he'd worn a baseball bat,
he wore a baseball hat.
Yes, and missed a big call.
And he missed a big call. And when I suggested to him, listen, it might be down to the fact, because he said he had his head down at the. His words were, "Sorry, I had my head down at the time, so I didn't see it." So what happened was at eye level to him, but he had his head down. One assumes because he was trying to keep his head down from the sun, and he was using the visor to protect his eyes. And I said, you would have seen that had you have not had your baseball cap.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, duly noted. Now, I don't know whether there's actually a rule that says you can't wear a baseball cap when you're a liner, but it doesn't look right. And that's another thing as well. Let's forget this assistant referee malarkey. A linesman is a linesman, and a referee is a referee or a lines person. A man of the match, if you're playing a football match and it's a man in a football match, it's a man of the match. If it's a woman, it's a woman of the match. I'm not doing that wokey malarkey. I don't agree with that. That is, I remember years ago when we had Liverpool ladies ground sharing with us, and I couldn't quite grasp me around the terminology, and I said at the end of, because I used to do the PA, I said at the end of the game, and the man of the match for Liverpool ladies is, and everybody in the background said, you guys, they were all laughing their heads off because they realised that I wasn't accustomed to that kind of
language.
Not language, but the fact that it was a ladies' game, and I normally
tradition. Yeah.
I'm normally involved with the male game. So once I'd come to terms with it, I said the woman of the match. I didn't know. I didn't actually know what to say at the time. But why are we so worried about what we say? If we turn around and say, we've just watched a man's game, and we say the man of the match, what's wrong with it? I know, but looking at your face there, that you're going to come back with. You don't agree with me, and I listen. I want to understand where and why it's so crucial that we have this wokey attitude towards being careful with what we're saying. If a man's a man, a woman's a woman. Go on. I'm not going Piers Morgan on you there, by the way, but
no, I think we've just gone a bit off the beaten track here. It's inclusivity. I think it's just trying to make people feel...
But everybody is inclusive.
We're just trying to normalise words and terminology as much as what we can do for the men's game, for the women's game, and for those of us who are...
But how does that affect calling man of the match in a male game?
Do they identify as a man? Maybe they're like non-binary or something. I don't know. I can only really speculate at this point. I don't know if we've just maybe gone a little bit too far in trying to overcorrect what we say, and I don't think there's anything wrong with saying man of the match. I don't.
But what I'm saying to you is to be corrected on it.
Is it just
and
because...
And this is why I'm saying, because we don't know exactly what's been said to this female official.
Is it because...
Is it any worse than what a male official puts up with every week? If it's on a level, on a par with... Then we are becoming more... We're going... I don't know what the correct term. Becoming hypersensitive, but we're also becoming more sexist, more sort of sexist towards the male fraternity of the football game than we are from a female perspective. I don't know. We're just we're trying to analyse and see what's being said, but we don't actually know.
No, we don't.
What's being said, but
I think I mean, the game itself ended up being called off. Okay, the game ended up being abandoned because the female assistant referee did not feel comfortable carrying on with the game.
That's fair enough. Listen, I'm not taking it
and that's fine.
If it's that bad that it's culminated in a female official leaving the the state of play because she can't take it, then that's fair enough. There's obviously a line being crossed there that shouldn't have been crossed. And listen, fully endorse the fact that we can't go over the top with any sex.
No, we can't. And I think it must... I don't think any female officials are naive when stepping into the men's game. I think it comes with the territory that abuse is going to be encountered, isn't it? I
think if you start talking about the physique of a woman when she's officiating, if you're talking about her anatomy, then I think you cross the line.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, I think that it's the same way as calling a fat linesman a fat linesman. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're overstepping the mark. You're overstepping the mark by doing that because
you are.
What we're in a position now in life where we're making it more difficult for it to generate and attract people to the game, to officiate the game, and that's why we're having people with less physicality, less physical capability taking up the slack.
Yeah.
But you know what? If they come into the game with the aim of it's gonna be a good sort of step up for me for losing weight and get myself fit again, and they can read the game like everybody else can, and keep up with it, then I'm all for it. But like you said, we've gone off on a little bit of a bit of a tangent. But I do feel as though we've got to that stage now where we might be underprotecting the male fraternity at a cost of overprotecting the female fraternity. And listen, we've often asked for women to contribute towards this show. Get female footballers to get female chairman, secretaries, anybody, but it's very difficult. People don't seem to be interested.
And that's okay
in doing that. But we'll move on now anyway. But we've made our point on that. Let's just hope that all gets.
And she goes back to the side of the pitch soon.
The only thing I'll say is on that that the final thing is this educational program, absolute load of baloney. If you know you're in the wrong, you're in the wrong, and you just don't do it again.
Yep.
I don't think any amount of education, it should be natural. It should come to you normally. You know how to respect people, full stop.
Well, yeah, but this is the thing, and particularly in the environment that we're living at, don't you think that the society is becoming an awful lot more attuned to racism, homophobia,
ticking boxes again, though, aren't we? We're sending them on these programs that are making money for someone outside the game, not going back into grassroots football.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm assuming.
Well, kick it out is a major, component within inclusivity in sport, and has been for absolutely ages. Same with Rainbow Laces, isn't it? So these kind of institutions are there to offer guidance, and I don't think you're ever too old to learn. I remember a story about a major individual within the Ku Klux Klan in the 1970s when integration within America came into force, and the black community and the white community started integrating in schools. And this head of the Ku Klux Klan had to sit down in a debate format with black members of his own society within his town, and by the end of it he'd completely reversed his decision and his thought process on it.
I think we've got to keep talking. I totally agree with you there, and particularly with kick it out, because I don't think we're ever going to exercise the problem. I don't think we're ever going to extract that from the world, unfortunately. But yeah, in terms of sitting down and educating people, I think that starts before you get to that point where you do it. Yet you've got to continue it. And I hate racism. I hate homophobia. I hate
sexism.
Sexism, it goes both ways in terms of you can be sexist towards men as well as women. We often forget that when in translation. But I think misogyny.
Yes.
Misogyny. I'm all against misogyny
100%.
as much as racism and homophobia.
Okay.
But listen, we move on to.
Yes.
We won't go into full detail on this one, but it was a joint statement made by North West Counties and the Midlands League, and predominantly by Martin Fallon, who we know particularly well. Used to be the secretary of Runcorn Town Football Club.
Is he the North West Counties chair now?
Martin Fallon?
Yeah.
Have I got the wrong one then?
No. You've absolutely. His name is Martin Fallon, but is he now the chair of the North West Counties?
No, that's Chris Stirrup.
Oh right, yeah, of course it is.
Chris Stirrup. Yeah. So Martin Fallon is.
He said this.
What he's basically turned around and said that the FA is not really being particular. This is the way I get it. They're struggling to create a perfect, fluid geographical boundary defining all the sort of borders within the league. So we bring the Midland League into that. We could also bring the Northern League in and the Northern Counties East into it. We all know that at the end of the season, it's a bit of a juggling situation to get teams into the correct.
A bit like a Rubik's Cube, isn't it?
Yeah. So there's an imbalance. There's always an imbalance.
There is an imbalance.
I think we lost out through an imbalanced situation as well.
You might have been right.
We could have possibly been reprieved if the FA had acted quick enough and increased the size of Division 1 North and Division 1 South.
Yeah.
Because that would have definitely given us a reprieve. As it turned out,
they only increased the size on the Division 1 South to 19 teams, and Division 1 North was left with 18, being the smallest league in the North West Counties circuit. Yeah. But by and large, actually pulling in the most views and most attraction if you like, between the Division 1s. So what they've basically said is that the geographical boundaries between the North West Counties and the Midland League are too big and too spread out, and it's leaving logistical situations to be a bit of a headache when you've got teams from Wolverhampton travelling all the way up to far end of Liverpool, sort of Ellesmere Port, the Wirral, Wallasey, to play games, and it can create nightmares for trying to get there, get back, and pay.
And in terms of geographical boundaries, what's the furthest point in the Midlands League at this moment? What's the furthest?
Wolverhampton.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Wolverhampton. Yeah, that's when you start going into Midlands and Staffs League.
Yeah.
So there are two teams within Wolverhampton at the minute.
And there's Wellington, isn't there, as well? I think Wellington were mentioned.
That's New Zealand.
No, it does say. Yeah, you said something there, but yeah, you were talking about the people travelling from the Wirral Peninsula to places such as Wolverhampton, Telford, and Wellington.
Yes.
Places synonymous with the Midlands League,
which we discussed a few weeks ago on the show as what was a contributor towards poor support within those places.
Yeah, and yet, and some teams would prefer. I think I read somewhere that I think it was it Main Road preferred to go back into
the south
Division 1 South, which I found quite
bizarre,
surprising. So, what it says, we're seeing memberships evolve around big cities with clusters. We talked about it before, actually, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
With clubs within a 10-mile radius, and regional and provincial clubs becoming increasingly rare. I think what we hit on before is that what they have to stop doing is now they have to stop letting the likes of AFC Liverpool's forming and City of Liverpool's to further not just to dilute it down now, but just to stop that geographical nonsense as well, because it makes it worse. Because if you, for argument's sake now, if you get a club to start up in Tranmere now because they're disgruntled supporters and they decide to do what FC United did with Manchester United, and then all of a sudden you've got a 2,000 strong supporter base within Tranmere. What do you do then? As the Northwest Counties, do you get, because you know that they're going to have maybe 300, 400, 500 travelling supporters, you're forced then into automatically recruiting them into the Northwest Counties somewhere. So they've got to stop that first and foremost. If they stop that first and foremost, it's great. But we said it in the first part of the programme. It's been said here, certainly by Martin Fallon and the Midland League, that it's creating huge problems because there's big sort of areas of huge amounts of teams.
Clusters, yes, there is. And what we're saying is, what the league are saying is that with resource management, a key part of the operations of the Midland League and the North West Counties, we're seeing teams, clubs travelling further, clubs appealing every season against their placement in various leagues, struggling financially to keep up with travel requirements, and disengagement with players and local fan bases. Local derbies are being reduced, and clubs are seeing a change in their traditional support, which was very true of the Wolverhampton derby between Wolverhampton Sporting Community and Wolverhampton Casuals, which I think raised a support of about 40. Wolverhampton Sporting Communities, we know, have a typically quite poor...
Well, I think they've had as low as 16, haven't they?
15. They played Market Drayton Town on Saturday, and there was a turnout of 27 there. It's very rare that anybody in the South Division gets a gate above 100. It's really poor. Even Runcorn Town, the victory over Alscott Heath on Tuesday night attracted a gate of 70. Stafford Town was 83. Alsage Towns was 68. So the turnout is traditionally quite poor.
The question is there a perfect shape for the National League system? And I'm throwing that quite out now. Nationally, I think you're always going to have an imbalance, aren't you?
Yeah, you are. You're always going to have an imbalance.
How do you best deal with that? I get the impression that the relationship between the leagues and the FA the FA are making it more difficult for the leagues to make make suitable changes that will accommodate it better. There's no perfect answer to it, but I think the leagues are best positioned to make the decisions than the FA are.
I think you might be right. Oh yeah, no, there's without a doubt, because it was the FA who'd put MSB Walton into the Southern League at the beginning of this season, until MSB Walton made an appeal and were put into the North afterwards. So Chris Stirrup called for exploratory sets of talks to take place, stating that following recent dialogue with our friends at the Midland League, it's become apparent that we are both having the same concerns regarding club allocations and the knock-on effect. It's also apparent that Step 5 and 6 divisions are covering each other's area. We have a situation where in the North West Counties, any team promoted from our Step 6 First South Division will now go into the Midlands League, which was true of Abbey Halton United and Winsford United last season, while clubs relegated from the Midlands League Step 5 could end up playing as far away as Runcorn, which I think is correct for one team that was in the Southern Division. It was Hormond and Wolverhampton Casuals, both new to the league this year, and both completely in the opposite end of the catchment area for the Division 1 South.
Yeah. So what's your overall? I don't know whether there's an answer to this, but I do believe that if they all join forces, these leagues, and they can have, good dialogue with the FA, they're in a better position. Listen, maybe we should have invited,
Martin Fallon on.
Or even Chris Stirrup for that matter,
or even Mike Joyner.
They're all there in the equation, and Mike Joyner, he's
the chairman of the Midland League.
Yeah, he stepped in there. In addition to our concerns regarding the current boundaries between the Midland Football League and the North West Counties, we also have the same concerns regarding the movement of clubs between ourselves and both the United Counties League and the Hellenic League. So this is also having a detrimental effect on progressive clubs at Step 7 and below. We're unable to effectively plan for their future when they do not have any guarantees as to which Step 6 division they will be allocated to. And of course, you think about it now, if we manage to finish in the top 5 and get promoted, is there a guarantee that we'd be in the North West Counties Division 1 North?
Oh God, I can't be bothered going to Wolverhampton.
I know, yeah, but I mean, how would you make the decision there? You look at the team there, because we're trying to be, we're trying to attract those teams from up the sort of South Lakes areas with Halkett Old Boys in Division 1 North, and
Penrith and Kendal, etc.
Yeah, you would have thought. I mean, there's potential for even more sort of what do we call it now? Lateral movements over to other leagues altogether. It's not just about those Division 1 South and North, but I mean, I always found it really.
Asheville's in Wallasey.
Yeah, so you know what I mean. It's probably slightly further north than, if you look at it, slightly further north than Runcorn, isn't it?
Yeah, but you've got to travel very far west to get to it.
Yeah. Well, it's not very far west for us, is it, in Division 1 North?
No.
Division 1 North,
but if you
for us,
Casuals,
that's a bit of a derby, isn't it?
Practically, yeah. But if you're Wolverhampton Casuals, you're absolutely stuffed, aren't you? I think what they need to do, and it's very easy for me to say, I think they just need to move the battle lines a little bit, just reimagine exactly where they are. And I think anything, further south than, Cheshire area, sort of Sandbadge, then I think that's your Division 1 South. So teams like Stafford, Telford, I think that's the area where you're looking at the Midland League. And then I think anything sort of further north, that's your Division 1 North.
Mm. But it appears to me that the dialogue between all the leagues and the FA...
Then it's not quite there, is it?
Well, I mean, if you look further on...
They're trying to.
What does he say?
This is all about opening a dialogue and discussion to continue to support one of the most open and competitive non-league systems in world football, which it is. Very exciting over here. We want to ensure that all clubs have a chance to keep their operational costs down whilst retaining their regional identities, which is why you don't want teams from Wellington travelling to the Wirral. We want to ensure that match officials don't travel long distance. I mean, they ain't bothered, they're getting mileage anyway. We want to ensure players don't give up on the game due to travelling or a lack of games, that's fair, and that supporters can go along without having to change generational allegiances because a traditional derby opponent has been changed by administration rather than competitive football. I get it. I really do. And I hope that between the Midland League, the North West Counties and the FA, they all start talking to each other. Because I understand, I mean, we've talked about this in terms of like fan turnout, but also looking at kind of the mapping system of particularly the South. It's not so bad up in the North because although you've got Holker Old Boys, that's really the furthest that you've got to go. That's the furthest north. And then the furthest south is Main Road, really, isn't it? There's nobody really further than that.
No. I mean, we did, if you remember, Kendall Town a couple of seasons ago, they were laterally moved over to the Northern Counties East, I think. And that's a bit of a trek.
That's absolutely
a bit of a trek for them. But I think what the leagues between them are saying now is that let us be part of the negotiate. Let us be part of the let's be at the table and talk about this because we've got the expertise.
I'd love to get Mike Joyner on the show then to see what he's got to say. But
listen, we'll park the bus there for now. We'll definitely have another conversation on that because that might affect a lot of clubs at the end of the season.
Might even affect us if we go up.
I don't think it will. Looking at the sort of the regional balance there, I don't think we could ever end up in the south because there's teams further south than us, isn't there? I'm just trying to look at them. Obviously, the two Ashton teams just trying to look at the map.
No, you're absolutely right.
You go from that. There's a lot of teams further south than us before we get into that position.
That's true.
Just trying to think if there's
even the Manchester teams.
With Droylsden sort of be on a level.
That's a bit more of a par, isn't it? So Manchester is just south of where we are.
Yeah.
Not by much.
Yeah, but not by much.
Right. Anyway.
But listen, we'll park the bus on that one and we'll move on to Flixton.
Yes.
Because this is something that might affect everyone, and I'll try and answer this one or because I know you've got questions about it. But so Flixton. They went out of business. The old entity of Flixton was dissolved back in 2012 due to financial difficulties and dwindling support. In February 2025, American financier Christopher Garcia purchased the club and the ground. Alex Morton is the new manager, and Rodri Giggs, brother of Ryan, is the assistant. They applied at the tail end of last season. They applied for the counties. But they applied too late. Since then, they've been playing friendlies on a regular basis and appear to have, like we say, really, really good financial support there. Somebody's mentioned circa £5 million, that they're willing to spend on this football club.
Well, damn it, Chris, why didn't you come to Scam?
I know, yeah. But, we're talking about now another densely sort of populated plethora of teams in the Manchester area. I think Flixton sort of sits just on the River Mersey, does it?
Is it? No, it's the... oh, God, what's that?
How far into Manchester does the River Mersey go?
Not that far.
Well, it goes a fair way, I think.
Does it?
Yeah.
Well, isn't it get called something else once it comes to a certain point?
Yeah, the Manchester Ship Canal.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm assuming it does, but
no, I think it's something a little bit different than that.
Yeah, the river. I don't know.
Oh, you're not far away.
Yeah, I don't know, but listen, you can tell me on that. But the thing is, now they've officially applied in time for the North West Counties for next season. My question is, do you think they should be, or your question, I should say, is should they be allowed to join the league directly? No. So your opinion is they shouldn't. Now,
damn straight.
If you look back to the time when FC United of Manchester were formed, they were put directly into the North West Counties. They wanted to be put directly into the Northern Premier League, just purely based on the attraction. that the following support that they would have.
Yeah.
And in terms of security, all made sense. Now, this is the way I see it. Arguably, if Skelmersdale United Football Club finish in the top 5 and can be promoted, we've got a ground share agreement in place and can be promoted back to the North West Counties, we should take precedence over Flixton Football Club. If we don't, then that's when I would have a disagreement. I would say, well, how come are you allowed into the North West Counties when we're not? And you've not been in operation for 13 years. The other thing, of course, is we've got Widnes Football Club. Now they've reformed as Widnes Town.
Yes, they have.
I don't know whether they've got any ambitions of rejoining the North West Counties or if they're going to start in the West Cheshire or wherever they're going to start Liverpool County Premier. I don't know what their ambitions or where they're going to start. I would say if nobody is prepared to move up, I've seen the Flixton setup. It's a decent setup. It's a decent non-league football ground. It's
they've taken back the old one that used to be the old entity of Flixton, didn't it? They've taken it back.
Yeah. Forgot the name of the stadium now.
Oh yeah, but they've got a decent basis on the River Irwell. The River Irwell, which is connected via the Mersey and the Manchester Shipping Canal. Yes, correct. So that's about the Salford area, really. They are west Greater Manchester, aren't they?
Not too sure.
I think they are.
I get lost in Manchester.
I know Manchester reasonably well.
Yeah, but if you've got this wrong now, you're going to look a total idiot.
No.
But listen, the point of the argument is,
should they go to the North West?
If there's only technically 2 teams should be relegated from the North West Counties.
Yes.
One team, who was it? Thornton Clearley's? Who was reprieved?
Garstang.
Was it Garstang? Garstang were reprieved because nobody else wanted to come up.
Yeah, that's correct. So
technically, 2 teams from every feeder league, if they fit the ground criteria and they apply for promotion within the set period, they can technically get promoted to the North West Counties or any feeder league at that level. So from step 7, if you finish in the top 5 of your league, you can progress to the next league. If Skem United Football Club is the only team that can go up,
there's a space.
There's a space for Flixton, and I've got no problem with that.
I do. Because how do we know that they're actually good enough to compete in the North West Counties anyway? Yes, they've got money behind them and all of that carry on, but money may not necessarily buy you the success that you want. And at this level, with the North West Counties Division 1 North being as competitive as it is, you've got teams like Ashton Athletic who got, a decent bit of money behind them. They are struggling. Other teams...
Ashton Town, you mean, yeah?
Yes, no, Ashton Town are at the top. Ashton Athletic are the one who are...
Yeah, they've got no money, have they?
Very little.
Yeah.
Good project that for anybody. Point is, no, I think if you are a new entity looking to get into the North West Counties, if you've been out of action for as long as Flixton have, you need at least 1 season in the amateur feeder league.
They attempted that, but they were too late on all counts. So
that's their own bloody fault, that.
Oh, it is, and I totally agree with you there. But it's not the reforming of a football club. It's the forming of a new club.
It is.
Whatever way you look at it, it might be on the old ground, but when you've had that much time between the two, you're not really the same entity,
no, of course
and it's not even the same people that are running the football club.
No, exactly.
It's an American financier for starters.
Yes.
The dream for us all. So I think yes, it's okay, providing they're not taking the place of anybody that's genuinely got the option to progress. Arguably, though,
I think you're still going to win.
I think this opens up another argument, another quandary question. If we'd have disbanded at the end of last season, reformed this season, now while the season is active, and had applied for the North West Counties, arguably, say that we moved back to the JMO, fit for purpose stadium, back in Skem, and we applied, and then we made an application towards the North West Counties. Would we get back into the North West Counties? We probably would.
Possibly.
If there's no teams.
Well, there's only one other team within the Liverpool County Prem.
Well, we don't know that for certain. We can't really say that because we don't know what's...
Fine.
We don't know what's been submitted, and we're not privy to that information. We're led to believe there's only one team that is likely to apply for the Northwest Counties. Whether they've done that already, and they've had to do, by the way, because I think that was supposed to be submitted last month in October, early October or mid-October.
Have we done ours?
Oh yeah, we've done ours.
Fabulous. So we're okay then.
Yeah, we're on the...
You're on the ball.
Spot that with that.
Yeah,
we've got to be on the ball with that one. So yeah, I think if we were in the same predicament now, we'd gone. And a lot of people suggested it to us. By the way, they said, "Listen, just go defunct and get back into Skem first and reform."
God.
Yeah, but you know what?
No.
Well, you know what? This is the difference between it now. We've got to finish in the top 5 to be considered to get promoted. But actually, if we restart as a football club, we've got more chance, unless somebody tells me different, we've got more chance of rejoining the Northwest Counties as a defunct football club than we have as a football club in a feeder league.
See, I'm sure FC United and Manchester were a bit of a rare exception to the rule because they showed to have an enormous amount of support.
Well, that's what I said to you before. They've got an enormous amount of support.
Their own
ground. They knew that,
yeah.
And they knew that there was going to be safety and security issues. So they knew that they had to. And even then, they started Division 1 North, or the first division. I think there was only the first division then. They started right at the bottom and had to work the way up. But the difference between that and a lot of the stadiums now are decent sized stadiums that can accommodate the away support. We know, little old Bearsco's football ground could accommodate 700 Berry supporters.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But if they'd come like 2,000, we couldn't accommodate them. No. We could only... I think our gate capacity was... And what we've learned is, since Berry started, that they restarted, their away support isn't as significant as it was when they first reformed.
Yeah.
That will change the higher they get up the ladder, but they're out of that situation now, so it's not a problem for them. But it annoys me and it galls me, and if anybody can put me correct on that, but the fact is that we would be better off rejoining the Northwest Counties as a defunct team than we would be. Because we've got to finish in the top 5. For me, it was all about protecting the legacy. I didn't want to break in our history.
Oh no, and supporters would have probably, supporters think you already tried that once upon a time.
Yeah, but it was even suggested by some of our supporters that we did exactly that. Quite bizarre. I would just stop it, pack in and start again and wait until you've got everything in place before you move on. So
too much of a headache, too much admin for that.
Yeah.
Forget it.
I'd like a little bit of feedback anyway. Listen, if anybody wants to reply on the socials and give a little bit of feedback on that, more than welcome that, wouldn't we? But listen, we'll finish on for this sort of part of the show on a really heartwarming story. And it's of Lewis Hardcastle, former Daisy Hill manager. Lewis Hardcastle was forced to retire from professional football at the age of 22 due to what was it now? Due to an injury. It was a heart issue. It was a heart issue. So, and he's finally got back into the game at 27 years of age after getting the all clear to play again. So, for more than 4 years, after being forced to bring a promising career to an end at the age of 22, like I say, due to a heart issue, first team coach Lewis Hardcastle put the boots back on and got himself back on the pitch after having the all clear off the hospital. So he came off the bench during Ryland's 6-1 win over Pilkington in the Liverpool Senior Cup. He entered the field alongside his older brother Ben for their first ever competitive appearance together. Having come through Blackburn Rovers Academy, Hardcastle had been part of a Barrow side that had won promotion to the Football League in 2020 before being forced into retirement in March 2021. 4 years later, following positive tests and scans with his consultant, he was given the all clear to lace up his boots once again. And I think
that's phenomenal. That
it's a phenomenal story. I mean, I've not read much since then, but it's a heartwarming story to know that at 27 years of age, he's still, he's still at a decent age to play competitive football at a decent level.
Yeah, if Kevin Ellison's anything to go by, he's got about 20 years left.
Yeah, and listen, who benefits from that? Warrington Rowlands. That'll be great for them.
Yes.
In the coming years. So listen, well done to Lewis Hardcastle to getting back to full health 100%. And getting back to playing football again. So listen, we're at the final part of the show where we talk about Scam United, our fixtures, predictions and analysis, and we'll try and sort of move on a little bit of haste here towards the end. We're 2.5 hours long now.
God, are we?
I know, yeah. That's what happens when you have a week off, isn't it?
Just carrying on.
Let's talk about Scam United. So,
let's talk about
Scam United. Since our 2-1 victory at Daysbrook, we ended up playing Grenadier again on last Friday night.
Yes, we did.
And we lost.
Yes, we did.
2-0.
Yes, we did.
But a much improved performance.
Huge.
And considering that we were 5 men down.
Yes, we were. Not literally. We just had 5 first teamers away. We did get out with the full 11. They just weren't. Yeah.
5 regulars weren't on board.
5 first team regulars weren't on board. So we had to bring in a couple of substitutes, but they all performed admirably.
Yeah, and it's fair to say, we've got to half time at 0-0.
Yes,
we could have been a couple of goals ourselves up. I think Toby Taylor had
he missed
a chance and he blazed it right over the crossbar.
It was a bit.
No, he blazed it right over the crossbar.
He was 25 yards out.
No, he wasn't. He was just on the edge of the box.
Shut up! He wasn't that far away.
At worst, he was in the D.
No, he wasn't. He was ages away, honestly.
I don't know. He'll correct me. If he listens to it, he'll correct me he will correct me at training on Thursday.
I doubt he listens. Craig Fitzjohn.
Nobody's got that much time, I think, to listen to this.
Not unless they're on a 3-hour car journey between Torquay and Eastborough.
Yeah. Half an hour each night.
Yeah, exactly. Craig Fitzjohn had a header that was saved by the goalkeeper, and that was as much as what our chances allowed in the first half. Second half, make decent enough start, but Grenadier getting ahead. Unfortunately, it was just the one ball of the night that we just didn't clear properly, and it goes straight to their centre mid, who sort of hacks it in from 20 yards.
We've had 3 attempts, haven't we, to clear our lines?
We have.
And it's gone straight directly to him. He stuck it in the top right-hand corner.
Yeah, no chance for David Bobchek.
That said, in the second half, early on in the first half, David Bobchek has saved a penalty.
Yes, he has. I think it was a bit of an unfair penalty.
Totally.
And so that was sort of a bit of a feeling of justice.
But how many penalty saves now?
That's his 4th of the season now.
4th of the season. Incredible. I mean, some don't save any.
Exactly.
Season. He's definitely a penalty specialist.
He is a bit of a pen specialist. Yeah, I mean, he's frightening to look at when you're sort of... He's a big guy with a mohawk and a beard. Of course he is. Yeah, terrifying.
He's a good-looking bloke, though, isn't he? He's not scary in that sense.
He's a little bit scary in that sense, and then you start talking to him and realise he's actually a gentleman. But anyway, well played, Bobcat.
He's a hell of a guy. So
and then it's the league's top scorer. Watts latched onto a long ball, legged it away from Craig, and just guided it past Bobchek for number 2. We've had a couple of half chances to get back into the game, but nothing very substantial. And I think Grenadier kind of held us at arm's length once they got into a 2-goal position. They were probably comfortable knocking the ball back and forth, but we made an excellent account for ourselves, again, particularly with a lot of our first teamers not there, and having the likes of Tom Broadfoot, Henry Singleton, Joe Turner, all of whom played a substantial part in that game. Brandon Carrington, who moved into an unfamiliar defensive midfield role, did really well. Yeah. So,
but overall analysation of it, I would say that we set up well. The shape was good.
Certainly did.
We defended well. I think probably where we went wrong on the day, and I think most people will agree with us. Defensively, we did the same thing. It was transitioning from defence. We didn't pass the ball to feet. We didn't keep hold of the ball long enough.
That's right. A few passes were quite sloppy.
Made them look better than they actually are. And I know they're top of the division and
11
probably
wins
going
from 11.
Absolutely PISS the league.
HMS the league.
Yeah. I think they'll comfortably win that league if they keep that squad together.
Not going up there.
But they won't be. They've got no desire, I don't think, unless they go for a ground share with someone else. But so from that perspective, I think the only disappointment that you can come out of that with and say is that I remember speaking to, when you were there, we spoke to Andy at the end of the game, and he was really, really disappointed, wasn't he?
He was. He said that he still lost, yeah.
Yeah, I said to him, you've got to take the positive. This is it. I said the first time round when we played the Grenadier, I said, listen, given their lofty position and the fact that we're struggling at the moment, it's all about performance. And if you put in a good performance, we didn't at home against them.
No, we didn't.
And as a result, we got battered 9-4. No complaints there. We were just inferior. But the second game, it was still all about performance. I think what not annoyed, but frustrated Andy was the fact that he felt as though there was something there in that game. And there probably was. It's probably a situation where when we played Joey Oars at the beginning of the season, we felt as though that was a 0-0 or a 1-1. We were never going to win it, but we shouldn't have lost it. And I think we felt like that at the end of the Grenadier game, that we shouldn't have lost that. 2 mistakes.
It's just how they play, though, isn't it? You know, we make a mistake like that, we are going to get punished, unfortunately, and I think that's a part and parcel.
But we didn't panic this time. You know, where normally defensively we panic, we go to pieces, and then we concede more. You know, the fact that we've kept it down to 2, and nobody should celebrate a 2-0
loss,
defeat, but it's a football score.
You can take positives from it.
But it's a football score.
Yeah,
Tommy will always say to you, it's a football score. It's not like a 5-0, 4-0.
Which is a rugby score.
A 2-0, a 3-1, it's a football score. 2-1's a football score.
Yeah, I think he's right.
It's a close game.
Yeah.
And it was a close game, and I think
it was a close game.
You know, whether they took us for granted and thought they were going to...
they may have done.
You know, they were going to go into double figures. I don't know, but they didn't.
No,
I think we put up a good account, and I think
we really did.
All bodes well for the next game, which is on Saturday, of course, and Halewood.
That's Apollo.
But strangely, so we'd got off the bottom of the division, and who was at the bottom?
King Harry, who
not
folded.
King Harry, the other team.
Halewood Apollo.
MSB Wilton, was it? Sorry,
No.
who's at the bottom?
Is it River?
Only by the fact that they got beaten somewhat. We moved up. It's weird we lost, but we moved up a place because the team above us
lost by a margin of about 6 or 7, so their goal difference was a bit more inferior. I think it's either River or it's Halewood Apollo.
Yeah.
Give us a second, I'll find out.
Yeah, but whatever the situation is there, we've moved up. We've moved up a space, and of course
it's River. Yeah. So we're now above River and Halewood Apollo, who went
River
below
at bottom, Halewood went below us by virtue of getting battered on Saturday.
And a worse goal difference. Yeah, exactly. And we've got a game in hand on them as well as the 2 teams above us, MSB Walton Reserves and Granby Toxteth Athletics. So
how much more important is it to win this game than it was to win the game against Daysbrook? When we were stood before that game and we were discussing it, we were saying to ourselves, if we don't win this game against Daysbrook, then we're going to consistently struggle.
Yeah.
But we beat them. We were the better team.
Yeah.
Better organised.
Yeah.
Fitter.
Yeah.
Stronger.
Had everything going for us there.
Yeah.
For the most.
I think we were fitter and stronger than the Grenadier on Friday, but that's a totally different argument. But against Halewood, they're the team that are actually lower and below us now.
Yes, they are.
That now is a marker. I think we're better. I think we will be at much better strength.
Yes.
Come Saturday, I think 1 or 2 of those players that we're missing will be back. So, do you think this result is more important than the Daysbrook? Daysbrook were up in that top 6 or 7.
They are, yeah. They're 7th now.
They were 6th when we played them.
They were, yes. I think we've got a massive 2 months on our hands now, where we're playing teams in and around where we are. We played the Grenadier twice. We played Nalgo and Sefton once. The only team in the top 5 that we haven't played yet is East Villarreal, and we haven't really got anything on them because they haven't played the Grenadier or Nalgo or Sefton. They haven't played any of the 3 teams that statistically are better than us. Okay, so I think we've got cup finals each and every week now for at least a couple of months. Okay, so we've got Halewood Apollo twice, we've got Sefton Athletic, we've got Joey Orrs. Those are our 4 games.
Arguably, we think Sefton Athletic is the better.
I think they are the better team, yeah.
The more balanced?
The more balanced, certainly the better attack. Their attack is like nothing I've seen at this level, and maybe...
They're like a North West Counties team.
They are a North West Counties team. If they trained and be fitter, they'd be unstoppable.
Well, I think they were probably almost as fit as us, Sefton. I think
we got the tactics
wrong. I think Granby Athletic as well. They're another team that, fitness-wise, decent fit.
Can be, yeah.
More of a, would you call them 5-a-side teams? I don't know. We had that when we went and played. Did we play last season up in just outside Bradford? I'm just trying to think who it was. Not
Route 1 Rovers.
Route 1 Rovers.
Who were absolutely killing it in the North East, by the way.
Yeah.
They were about 5th. They're doing absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, coming up, it's not Joey Orrs, it's MSB Walton Reserves. So Halewood Apollo twice, Sefton, MSB Walton Reserves. You would want, that's 12 points on show, minimum 9, maximum 10. Okay, I think if we get 10 points from these games, that rockets us up to about 8th.
I'm trying not to put too much emphasis on game 2, 3 or 4.
Just trying to take it one at a time.
I think that's the mentality that we have to have now. I think we felt as though we could win the game against Days, but we feel as though we can win the game against Halewood. We've got to prove ourselves.
We do have to prove ourselves.
I think it puts us in a good position then with 9 points. We're 1 point better off than we were last season. That speaks volumes in terms of psychology. That speaks volumes for us as a football club, never mind anything else, because we could only amass 8 points all season with more games.
But we have 3 players in our playing squad that were part of that team last season, and even then only one of them has only recently come back to us now. So from that perspective, it's a bit of an unknown entity for these lot. I think now that they are gelling and they know that they're gelling, I think they can only get better here.
We feel there's a rising, don't we, if that's the
100. No, there absolutely is. So yeah, if we want to take it one step at a time, that begins at Halewood Apollo, and I think that's a really important game for us. I think it's also important in how we need to shape our goal difference and how we can look to polish off teams and do it well. So it's not necessarily about winning.
Well, we keep saying that somebody's going to get
a walloping. We haven't won a game by more than a goal since I've been at the club, and that was 18 months ago. Yeah. Apart from the King Harry result, which is void. But yeah, I think this is kind of a day when I hope all of our attackers could get in on the act and score a couple.
This is the first of many cup finals then set.
It really is, yeah.
And
that's not to put too much pressure on the lads, but I think we now...
I don't think it'll be a defining moment, but in terms of confidence, psychology, and given what we've managed to do over the last 5 or 6 games, bar the odd blip, is I think with three wins and 3 defeats now, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
I think if you're looking like,
and that was 2 against Grenadier and 1 against Sefton.
If you're looking at a milestone, then 2 points a game, is that like you've got to win more than you're losing? I think we might be getting to that position now where we feel as though we're confident enough. We know we're not the finished article, and we know we're not going to win all our games.
No.
But I do feel as though we should be in that position now, where we should win more league games than we lose.
So. Yeah, I think you're right. So we're playing 24 games in a season. We've played 9, so that's 15 games left of a season. If we win 5 of those, we've won as many games as what we've lost.
Yeah.
And I think we can do that. And win 5 games, that's 15 points. That puts us on 21. That puts us into the top 5 at this rate.
We've not deliberately played ourselves down either. We knew how difficult it was going to be.
Of course we did. But
we had never taken anything for granted.
No, we haven't. But I think what's more amazing about this bunch of lads is that they've risen to the challenge. None of them have left. They're all still here from game one, apart from the enforced personnel, which was like Andy and Barney's findings, that have only served to make the team stronger.
So we're not overconfident either now, are
No,
we?
we're not.
What we're saying is we feel as though there's a change.
There's a quiet confidence in this lot, and I think they're starting to kind of gel to the point where they can see teams off.
Yeah.
I believe that they can see teams off, and I believe that starts on Saturday.
Yeah, and probably a good moment to mention it, of course, is the recruitment of Caleb Jones. That's come from the Marshals. He left the Marshals recently. He's been manager, he's coached, a little bit higher in the sort of non-league area. He's also managed Nicosia. I think he'll be managing Nicosia when they restart next season. What it is with him, his contacts, his little black book is second to none at that level.
Okay.
And as a byproduct of that, I think we've managed to sign. Pardon me, got a bit of an itchy cough here, but we've managed to sign 2 or 3 players already.
Oh, have we now?
So I maybe be able to do a little bit of a press release on them when they're all actually solid over the line. But so it's already paying dividends now. The fact that we brought Caleb into the
brilliant
football club. He's larger than life character in every way, shape. You'd imagine.
Yeah, great geezer. I only met him very fleetingly, but lovely fella.
And I think he sort of complements the rest of what we've already established.
Oh, I think so.
And I think he can only get better
Improve
from
us.
that point.
I think so. So just before we move on to the fixtures and predictions, I just want to give a shout out to our former head of goalkeeping, Phil Priestley, who is going to be awarded the Chief Superintendent Award of Excellence at the Wakefield District Policing Awards this week. Earlier on in this year, on his way to work, Phil played an integral part in assisting someone in a crisis. And he's going to be suitably rewarded for that one. So huge congratulations to Phil.
Listen, Phil would be a cracking character to get on the show, by the way.
The goalkeeping coach at Harrogate Town.
Yeah. And I think he assisted Tommy Lawson, didn't he, back in the day? I think he played in goal for us, didn't he?
Did he? He was our goalkeeping coach last season.
Well, he sort of he helped out here and there while obviously Alex was at the football club, and he's a cracking character. Love to have him on the show. So if you're listening, Phil, you're more than welcome anytime.
Come on, Phil.
You want.
All right.
So listen, we'll move on to the. We'll have to race ahead really a bit with this if we can find it.
It's 3 hours worth.
We
two old men talking.
Yeah, we do apologise. Well, I'm old, but we do apologise for keeping you longer than we normally do. But we wanted to make up for the lack of a show last week.
So you can split it into 2 parts if you want.
Yeah, you can split it into 2 parts if you want. Right. I'm just looking at the time there. It doesn't really matter because the games are kicked off. But as long as AJ hasn't been looking at the results so far.
No.
So we'll start off with the Edward Case Cup second round. South Telford versus Stockport. Georgians, I'd normally have said Telford on this one, but they're not particularly doing great at the moment.
They're on a bit of a wobble, aren't they?
But I'm still going to go for Telford.
I will go for... I'm going to go Telford as well, because there can only be a winner here. So we are talking about Wednesday the 26th of November. We're recording tonight. Litherland Remica versus Prestwich Hayes. Yeah, there can only be one winner there, can't there? MSP Walton versus Steeton. There's not a great deal of difference between them in terms of league positions. So I'm going to stick my neck out here and I'm going to say Steeton. I'm going to go for a draw because I'm fully aware that Steeton have a few players suspended after being reduced to 8 men in their loss to Squires Gate 2 weeks ago. Steeton, yeah. They made a big deal about it on their social media, calling into question the integrity and performance of the referee when they were sent off, when 3 players were sent off. So with that in mind, I will say a draw.
All right, we should have known that before I predicted. But
I sent it to you
I'll stick back
as a news article. Yes, I did. You double blue ticked it, so you clearly read it.
Oh, right. Crikey. Well, if we should have featured that on the show, you should have brought it up.
What? Because we'll have had time.
Yeah. Okay, listen. Fair enough. But West Didsbury are playing Stalybridge Celtic in the Manchester Premier Cup first round. I'm going for Stalybridge Celtic.
I'm going to say Staley Celtic, but what a game that's going to be.
Yeah, I think with a lot of these games, the lower ranked team tends to win it because they send a second string team out. But anyway, listen, starting with the Premier Division on Friday, FC St Helens versus Remy. It's got to be FC St Helens.
Yeah, I think so. It's FC St Helens. Yeah.
Moving to the Saturday games, Prestwich Hayes versus the Isle of Man.
Ooh,
I don't think the Isle of Man do particularly well on these shows.
No.
But they're doing okay now. They're winning a few games, drawing a few games.
They've shored it up, haven't they? They're sitting in 19th, where Prestwich Hayes sitting 15th. Gonna say a draw. That's a 2:00 kick-off at the AD Moran Park.
So you know what? I'm going for a draw, and because it crossed through both of them there, that means it's going to be a draw.
There you go.
AFC Liverpool versus Cheadle Town.
Interesting.
Cheadle. Listen, I think AFC Liverpool are building up ahead of steam, so I'm going AFC Liverpool.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm going to say AFC Liverpool as well.
Atherton LR versus Abbey Hay. We know they've...
Well, that was a reverse result from a game that played last week when all the goals were scored in the 90-plus minute. Atherton LR triumphing there by 2-1. I think they'll do the same. I think it's going to be a home win. Yeah,
I think Atherton LR will win. They're sort of getting to that stage now where it's almost... try and consolidate where you are and see where you are after Christmas and see whether you can make a real serious attempt for those playoff positions.
I don't know
currently
if
now
they are in 11th.
They're 10 points away from the playoffs.
They are. Bit of a tricky one this year. They might do it next year, but right now I think they just want to consolidate in the top half. So I will say a home win. Yeah,
Barnsley Town versus City of Liverpool. We've mentioned Richard Brodie and the new manager, obviously taking over as the new manager there. It's going to be a difficult one for him. We start from scratch.
Bit early for him.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a difficult. I think the margin of defeat is the one that's good. If they can keep this below 5, it'd be a good result for them.
Yeah, well, you want to hope that Richard starts off by doing that, by shoring up a very, very leaky defence. Yeah. I will say Barnoldswick, but if this is below about 4, then there are signs and positive signs there as well. Yeah,
Barnoldswick for me, unfortunately. I hope I hope he gets off to a fine start there, stature draw, whatever he can. But it looks as though it's going to be a difficult job for him. Bearscough versus Padiham, really, really good.
That's a belter of a game, that one.
Yeah, and you know what? I think weeks ago I turned around and said to you that Padiham are going to win that all day long, but I'm just looking at the form table now.
Yeah, the form table, it favours...
Padiham 8th, Bearscough 7th.
It does just about favour Bearscough, really, but even then, would you really be wanting to say Bearscough were going to win it? I
just noted that Bearscough have conceded less goals. You know, they've conceded 5, whereas Padiham have conceded 9. Bearscough's problem is probably scoring a lot of goals.
Yeah, they've scored 34.
It's got the hallmarks of a draw, you know.
Yeah. Bearscough have scored. Go for a draw. Yeah, they've scored 34, which is the lowest in the top 10. They conceded 21, which is the joint best.
Yeah.
Padiham, second best scorers in the division, second best concessions in the division.
Yeah,
third best.
I'm going for a draw either way.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to join you in that one. It's either going to be a draw or one of these teams is going to win by a goal to 0.
Yeah. Exton Villa versus Glossop North End. Glossop North End. Ramsbottom versus Earlham, going for Ramsbottom. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a shock in place there.
I'm going to say a draw because both of these teams play on grass pitches.
Right.
Okay, and given how Earlham are performing at the minute, particularly Jack Mitchell and John Johnston up front, it wouldn't surprise me if that's severely tested the Rami defence. Yeah, so, but I mean, that being said, Rami have their own goal scorers in place. I know Harvey White has had a few recently. I think I'm not sure who the other one is for Rami. I don't think. Interesting.
Listen, they've scored 61 goals so
Yeah,
far. So
probably says a lot.
61 goals, almost averaging.
Well, yeah, but 8 of those come against City of Liverpool.
But still, an average of three goals a game at this stage of the season.
I will still say a draw regardless, but I'm hoping that Wilkesy brings home the goods there.
South Liverpool, Chadderton, I'm going for
Chadderton.
Stockport Town versus Longridge, I'm going Stockport Town. West Didsbury and Chiltern versus Charnock, I'm going for West Didsbury. Wythenshawe Pilkers, it's got to be Wythenshawe. Division 1 North, AFC Blackpool versus Kona, AFC Blackpool. Ashton Athletics, Steeton. Daisy Hill versus Thornton Cleveland, I'm going for Daisy Hill. Darwin versus Ashton Town, I'm going for Darwin.
Yeah.
Droylsden, Fulwood Amateurs, Droylsden. Garstang Main Road, I'm going for Main Road. Holker Old Boys versus Squire Gate.
Old Boys.
Yeah. Nelson versus McGull.
Belter.
That's the hallmarks of a great game. But
I think Nelson will win that.
Yeah, the Daisy Arena, Little Wembley Stadium. So yeah, I'm going for Nelson. Saturday, the 29th of November.
Into the
Division 1 South we go. Allscott Heath versus New Mills. What am I going for? Allscott Heath.
Allscott Heath are 11th. New Mills are
I'm going for
4th.
Going for a draw. Camel versus Wolverhampton Sporting Wanderers.
Nope.
Sporting Community. Rather, yeah. I'm going for Camel
I'm also
on this one.
going for Camel.
Incidentally, we know Harrison Denton is
scored.
Yeah, and he scored last week, didn't he? So,
yes, he did.
Well done to him, and keep that going at Camel Well done. Eccleshall versus Hormond. Going for Eccleshall, obviously. Foley Mere versus Cheadle Heath. No match.
Foley Mere are 5th in the form table, aren't they? But
I'm going for Foley Mere.
8th versus 12th. Draw, I think.
Market Drayton versus Barnton. I think it's got to be Barnton.
Sorry, Dan.
Sandbach versus Stockport Judgings.
Sandbach, but only just.
Shawbury versus Telford Town. I could see Shawbury pulling off a shock here, a draw or something. But they go for Telford still. Stafford versus Alsage. I'm going for Stafford. Wolverhampton Casuals versus Runcorn. So Monday 1st of December, we're moving into December, Division 1 North at the Ginge Power Stadium, Daisy Hill versus AFC Blackpool. This will tell us an awful lot about the true credentials of Nicky Hunt and Daisy Hill and their current form, and I'm going for Daisy Hill.
I think a lot of this depends on whether the Ginge Power Stadium is actually going to be repaired in time for this game. So they took a bit of a
the roof came off.
Yes, they took a bit of a battering from Storm Claudia, not Claudia, Claudia, because it's Spanish.
Was it Storm Claudia? Was it? Yeah.
Sure, why not? And it took the red hair off the Ginge Power Stadium. Sorry, the roof of red hair off the Ginge Power Stadium. Yeah. And as a result, they needed fixing, and the league needed ratification of safety. So if this game goes ahead, I think Daisy Hill will win it.
Yep. So Tuesday, the 2nd of December in the Premier Division, Abbey Hay versus Bearscough. Barnoldswick Town versus Longridge. Barnoldswick versus I'm going for Longridge.
So Barnoldswick are 18th, Longridge are 12th, and then in the form table, Barnoldswick 19th and Longridge 13th. So you can see the pattern here. Longridge.
Yep, Charnock Richard, Atherton LR for me.
Draw.
FC St Helens, South Liverpool, FC St Helens.
Earlham
versus Chadderton. I'm going for Chadderton. Wythenshawe versus Ramsbottom. I think that's actually going to be a draw.
I think that's going to be a draw as well.
Tuesday the 2nd, Ashton Athletic versus Fulwood Amateurs.
Fulwood
Amateurs.
Honestly, do the games ever get easier for Rami, or is it just a constant, relentless battering of their title credentials? They have Chadderton, Earlham, Wythenshawe, all in the space of 3 weeks.
I know.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Amazing, isn't it?
Can't.
And I don't know why I've got so many fixtures here, because
My God, man!
I've taken us up to the 6th of December. What's it? I'll take the
10th?
notice of that, yeah.
Taking us up to the 10th,
The
isn't it?
10th.
The 6th,
Well,
you
we're
lunatic.
We're back before then, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Anyway.
God.
Anyway, so
Overkill.
Tuesday the 2nd of December, 1st Division South, Stockport Georgians versus Telford. Going for Telford.
Telford.
Wolverhampton Sporting Community.
It's Runcorn Town.
Runcorn Town. Glossop versus Matlock Town in the Derbyshire Senior Cup third round. Matlock. New Mills versus Gresley Rovers.
All right.
Are you going Gresley Rovers?
I am going Gresley Rovers.
Higher place team.
Oh.
Lancashire Challenge Trophy second round. Prestwich Hayes versus Padiham. Going for
Padiham.
Padiham. Squiresgate versus Nelson. We move to the Staffordshire Senior Cup second round. Foley Mere versus Wolverhampton Casuals.
Foley Mere.
I go Foley Mere. Stafford Town versus Hanley.
Stafford.
I'm going for Hanley. I'm just going to be completely different there. Probably the reason why I printed off more fixtures is Barmy. I've mentioned Wednesday's fixtures there, but take a notice of them for now. Yeah, I've gone really far. I haven't got a Wednesday the 10th. That's ridiculous there.
Overkill.
But yeah, listen. In the meantime, make sure you check on your results from last or the week before last, because I need to know whether I've won a game or I haven't.
Yep.
So listen, we move to the final part of the programme, and we listened. We had that general conversation about what we've learned this week, but or over the last 2 weeks, and I suppose the question really needs to change. I've thought about this quite often, and I think the question really should be is how we're feeling at the moment.
How we're feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can feel positive in defeat, then we felt positive in defeat.
There we go. So what positives have we got to take from this week? So the positives that we can take is that we performed very, very well against the champions-elect of the league. And I think we've navigated a particularly difficult hurdle of fixtures where we can now start to look at very, very attainable results against opposition around us. I think that's the positive I can take from this week.
Yeah, most definitely. I share that agreement as well. Agree with that sentiment. I think you said at the beginning of the show, this time last week was really struggling. I'm going to try and get on top of that. There's more important things in life than football. Well, sometimes people say there's more important things in football, but if football keeps you happy,
keeps you busy.
It keeps you busy, then it stops you worrying. So, yeah, I think I feel quite happy. Had a few good discussions with various people in terms of progressing SCEM in the nearby future, near and long term future. So that's some good positive conversations there. It's really good that we've managed to recruit Caleb to the management team as well. So they're all positives, and if the positives outweigh the negatives, then you're winning. And we know there's always going to be troughs as well as peaks. So yeah, pardon me coughing again, but from that sort of perspective, I think it's not been a bad couple of weeks, and we move on. We
pretty
fight,
good to be a
fight again on Saturday, and look forward to the Christmas fixtures when they come out. I think.
So just a gentle reminder of that Skelmersdale United game this Saturday, 29th of November, Marine Travel Arena, 3:00 kick-off.
And we've already got the fixtures for December, haven't we?
We have.
You mentioned them earlier on, so we'll talk about them more in next week's programme. But yes, we're looking forward to that. Our last game is on the, and I think it's our next home game is on the 20th of December at the Marine Travel Arena Stadium.
MSB Walton Reserves.
MSB Walton Reserves. So we're going to have a little bit of a sort of Christmas theme to that.
We know.
Well, that week, the build up to that show, we'll have a Christmas a Christmas theme.
Fine.
And maybe a Christmas quiz, because you talked about having a quiz, didn't you?
I did talk about having a quiz. Also talked about a lot of things, really, to be fair. But yeah, we can do a Christmas quiz for you and for me. See who wins that one.
Yeah, get somebody in to adjudicate.
Jayhawks.
well, what's we got? I think Martin Stewart offered his services, didn't he?
Did he now?
Yeah, he'd be the the quizmaster question. We pretend that we know an awful lot about non-league football.
We do.
But
do we really?
When it comes down to the brass tacks and we're asked the question,
We haven't got a bloody clue.
We haven't got a clue. No,
exactly. I don't. I've only been involved for 2 years.
But listen, that's another question for people outside the show. And we really appreciate you supporting the listeners.
Yeah.
That tune in their droves.
Thank you.
Listen, if there's anything that you particularly want to listen to in the show, anything that you'd like us to feature, then contact us through the socials.
Yes.
Or things that you'd like us to get rid of.
Yeah.
Me.
We can't do it without you, honestly. Yeah. It's like Top Gear without Jeremy Clarkson. It just wouldn't work. Just need that cantankerous old man there.
Yeah. So listen, we've covered the show. We've done over 3 hours. We've done a marathon. So I'll leave the final words to those dulcet tones of AJ.
You've been listening to the Speaking Frankly Football Show with me, AJ Vergette, and my co-host, Mr. Frank Hughes. This podcast is available on most streaming services wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify and Amazon Music. Please rate and review, as we do thrive off hearing your feedback. Please also subscribe so that you can find out firsthand when a new episode of the show has been released. We're also available on social media sites, including Facebook and X, under the banner term Speaking Frankly Football Show. And so from myself and Frank, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week for another instalment of the show. Until then, bye bye for now.